on. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here watching the damn thing, waiting for it to like, we're gonna go live, we're gonna go live, we're gonna go live, and it just pops live. I'm sitting here like this. What's going on? This is Trigger with Instructor Mike and friends. I am your host, Instructor Mike. On tonight's show, if you watched us last night, you heard us talk about the Highland Park situation that occurred in Highland Park, Illinois, with all the active shootings that has been going on. You heard us talk about some of the suspect things that were going on in that given situation. Tonight is going to be the solution show. Oh, it is going to be triggering. We will be joined later by the other friends on this show. If you are watching this, you don't want to miss it. You want to make sure that you tag people in this show. You need to tag some parents in this show. You need to tag some educators, some teachers in this show, because this is going to be a show that's going to really bring about some solutions, some stuff that just needs to be said. And it's going to be here tonight, triggered with Instructor Mike. What's going on there? This is Chicago with Season Service Survival.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Friends here. Y'all,
because you have to understand that self-defense is a serious business. We do carry forces, advanced forces, make a difference.
one of the tactics that would increase or decrease
in the two-way community.
All right, y'all introduce yourself.
Let's just kid. Give him 100.
Johnny
You already know what it is. We do this.
I saw that, and I've done my share. I'm about to put yours up here too. Look at this one. My comment is,
I won.
hey, you'll be back. Hey.
But no, so Marquise Moreno, PC.
What's going on? What's going on? If you are watching this show, please do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Please, let's get the likes up. Let's get more people into this conversation because the school year is coming. There are other events that are happening throughout this nation. And this is a conversation that definitely needs to happen about the solutions that we need to have to bring about. You said a guy got shot right outside our hotel last night, less than 100 feet from our door. Wow. What's going on, Chess from Raleigh, North Carolina? What's going on, man? You know, I had a chance. You said, I see they call it an AR style rifle. Yeah, there were some other things that came out. You know what, Chess? I had a chance to view that other live. I think you know what I'm talking about. You probably saw me commenting on their live that they had going on. I'm sad to say there were no real solutions that they were talking about in that. It was just a lot of talking points, and it wasn't any real solutions. I see Facebook is doing its per usual, lowering the number count. What's going on? Incognito, what's going on? Well, that's why I'm depending on you guys to share this message, because I'm watching the viewers and I see Facebook is doing its norm. You know, when I was talking about Highland Park yesterday, they were allowed it to happen, and I said some controversial things. What's new? Definitely something's got to be talked about. So let's go on ahead and push it. You said sub 2000. They really wanted to call it. No, see, if you watched the press conference, they said that he had the Kel-Tec sub 2000 that he took with him to Madison, Wisconsin, in an attempt to try to start a situation there. They didn't say anything about the make and model of the rifle or the alleged rifle, because we don't know if in fact it was a rifle. You heard the shots, things of that nature. I mean, sounds what it sounds like. but you don't hear them giving a, sorry about that. Oh, excuse me, a make. Hey, TT, what's going on? You don't hear them giving a make and a model of that rifle, which I'm curious is like, if you got the make and model, why not tell it, right? You just keep saying AR style. And it's making me think, like, if you're just going to keep on saying AR style, AR style, AR style, why not just come out and say it? Does that make sense? I don't know. Does that make sense to you? All right. If you're watching it, don't forget to like, comment, share, all that great stuff. Let's go on ahead and dive right into it. So, solutions. Here's some solutions that I have. And of course, the friends will be walking in a little bit later. Okay. Let me pull that back for a minute because that's not doing exactly what I needed it to do. Y'all saw it right away. And some of y'all saw, y'all seen some of the solutions that I am proposing here, right? Some of the solutions that I am proposing here. Of course, I wanted to go one by one for each one, so that way we can talk about it as it appears. But I guess my PowerPoint presentation just decided to say, you know what? F it. We're going to do what we want to do. And that typically happens too. So let's go on ahead and just dive right into it. Doesn't matter. Let me get this back up. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. It actually is going to do it. Excuse me. Probably. Let's go on ahead and do it. Hey, what's going on? I see you guys' comments. You said most don't know what AR mean. Absolutely. My sound is gone. Is my sound gone, you all? Can you still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear me. You said my sound is gone. Is my sound gone or you got Boost Mobile? Hey, Denise. Sound is loud and clear. 10-4, 10-4. All right, y'all can hear me. Okay. Hector says yes. I should run for office. No. Hell no. Fuck, I'm not running for office. No, I'm not running for no damn office. All right. Here we go. Do me a favor, guys. Like, comment, share, please. If you are watching on YouTube, smash that like button. Smash that like button. Please smash that like button. Okay. Same thing with Facebook, all that great stuff. Please, let's go on ahead and get, because that's what Facebook and the rest of these. You said Mike actually likes having a voice. What does that mean, Tobias? What does that mean? Mike likes actually having a voice. What does that mean? Now the shooter in Chi-Town wanted to go to Wisconsin to commit another mass. Well, it doesn't matter. It could be YouTube or Facebook. It doesn't matter. I'm going to stream on both, preferably YouTube, but I'm going to stream on both. You know, I'm watching the views, where they're coming from. And so, you know, it is where it is. I'm trying to figure out what Tobias is actually saying, but neither here nor there. We're going to go on ahead and keep pushing. So, solutions. Bam. Let's get to it. 1, talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. You all see the solutions right here that I have, and I have more, right? Talk to your kids. You know, if we look at these active shootings, you know, what's the common theme that has been taking place? The common theme, hell no, I'm not running for office. No, absolutely. That's not going to happen. See, the thing is more, that's a whole nother conversation. We ain't gonna get distracted by that. The answer is no, I'm not running for office. I like the freedom that I have now. Once you get into politics makes strange bedfellows. It makes you turn your back on family. It's just so much crap. And I got so much evidence to be able to point out why politics would be a horrible idea, especially for me. No, I'm good. Let's move on. Talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. You know, we spend so much time working. We don't spend a lot of time talking to them like we should. But what do you talk about? What do you talk about, right? Parents, start dealing with your own traumas. Well, Mike, what does this have to do? JFB, you are in the house. You know it's about to go down. Thank you, sir. Class is in session. I'm going to read your comments too, right? I'm going to read your comments. Now, you said lower prices or create programs for therapy and counseling that don't require a medical diagnosis. That's where an anger management course comes from. An anger management course. I can sit here and say, parents, start dealing with your own traumas, but how are you going to deal with the red flags you don't even know are there? And if you know their red flags are there, how do you even know what to discern about them? You need a fresh set of eyes. You need a different perspective, right? So take an anger management course. Dominic Hughes says you have to be honest, okay, about the dangers and how to handle them. But sometimes the red flags lie within you as the parent, and you push that off to your kids, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, right? Those of you who follow me on Facebook, you saw a video that I just posted of a grandmother that I had in my office. She had 5 girls, right? She had 5 girls. One of the girls, I guess she was out there whispering. She wasn't really causing a disturbance to me. But then she went on and sat there and called the girl over to the office and told her, "What did I tell you?" And then hit the girl on her cast. I'm sure it hurt. And I told her, don't abuse that kid in front of me. Don't beat that kid in front. When you want to do that, you cannot do that in front of me. You cannot do that in front of me. Now, I get it, Kimberly. Make your kids accountable. But I'm going to add to that, teach your kids to hold you accountable. Here's the reason why I said teach your kids to hold you accountable. Teachers are accountable to their students for the students' outcomes, because that's why you're teaching, right? Take an anger management course, the B analysis. What is the B analysis? Behavior, emotion, event. Why are they behaving the way they're behaving? We're going to get to some more good content. This is just some introductory stuff that I'm talking about, right? What's the next one? Learn when to walk away. Learn when to walk away, right? Learn when to walk away. Can you guys still hear me? Struggle streaming, right? StreamYard does this from time to time. It's a lot of people going live right now, and I've seen those notifications come up. So can you guys still hear me? Streaming's kind of struggle streaming. It happens on StreamYard from time to time. Yes. Okay, good. All right. Yes. Take a non-violent crisis intervention course. Take a non-violent crisis intervention course. This stuff, what's going on, Alea? This stuff will help you understand how to deal with your children when they go through crises, right? Learn when to walk away. Here's another thing too. We're talking about red flag, right? We're talking about red flag laws. You constantly hear that in these press conferences. Every time there's an active shooter or an active threatening situation, you always hear about these red flag laws, red flag laws, red flag laws. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to get to your comment, Keith, right? The red flag laws are going to be used against you. They are going to be used against you. I'm sorry, guys. This isn't the time to be trying to argue to prove a point. This is not the time to be arguing to prove a point. You said low-key need veteran Overwatch over here at Midway, but I guess I'm here. What's going on in Midway? Is it that protest for that kid that got shot, or that young man that got shot in Akron? Is that what that is? Midway UFC? Talking about Midway Plaisance? Is that what you're talking about? Because of that protest? This isn't the time to be trying to be right. This is the time to just look. The minute you see an argument brewing, walk away. I am not going to argue with you. so long as your temperature and your attitude is up here. And you need to be the first to pull out. Oh, moving's in the park. Oh, you're right. This would be the perfect time for you to start pulling out your phone and start recording. Why do I suggest pulling out your phone and start recording? I suggest that because you're going to need evidence. It is so easy for people to file red flag laws for malicious intentions as well as good intentions. Malicious intentions as well as good intentions. Don't get caught in the crossfire. Create a record of walking away. Do not argue. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not argue. Pull out that phone, start to record, make sure you get a face, make sure you get your face being calm, walk away. Do not. That's why you need to take an anger management course. That's why you need to take a nonviolent crisis intervention course. You need to take that course. And if they, just like Will said wonderfully, if they see enough phones, they may think twice as well. It is not guaranteed, but it increases the chance. You need to learn to walk away. Men and women, but I'm talking to the guys. Why am I talking to the guys as well? Because women get the benefit of the doubt. You as a man have to prove it's what it is. You could call it right or wrong. You could say you like it, don't like it. Kurt, yes. Don't even argue with the neighbor over their dog pooping in your yard. This is not the time. If you value what I'm saying, let's get those likes up. Let's go on ahead and hit that subscribe. This is some great freaking information. I am telling you from experience. This is not the time to get in any arguments, especially if you are a concealed carrier. Marquis said he's finishing up a class and he will be on. Derek Rogers said, I no longer argue with people who are against firearms. I do politely tell them just because you don't own a sword does not mean you will not be killed by one. I will sit here and tell you this, Derek, don't even say that. Don't even say that, because I'm telling you, the slightest statement could be misconstrued and used against you. The slightest statement could be used against you. You don't want to have that happen. I just sat there and listened to a bunch of people on a platform. I will not say that platform's name. I will not say that platform's name. But I just got through listening to a bunch of people on that platform with no real workable solutions at all. None. And here we got to have some. Take a look at that while I get this up. I'm going live on TikTok too. It just needs to be shared. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. You said we live in a world where minding your business also irritates you. So words make it 10 times worse. Wise words. Wise words. Very, very wise words. Very wise words. I cannot emphasize this stuff enough. So parents, again, talk to your kids. Talk to your children. Start dealing with your own internal traumas. This is not the time to be continuously lying about the traumas that you are going through or have gone through in your past, because what you have not healed from, You are passing down that stuff down to your children. You're passing down that stuff to your children. This is the time to heal from your own traumas. I urge you, take an anger management course. Take an anger management course. Dominic Hughes said on Facebook, children comprehend a lot more than we realize. Absolutely. Learn to walk away. We're going to come back and revisit these. Let's go. Let's move forward. We got a lot of ground to cover. For those of you all on TikTok following, do me a favor, go on ahead and hit those likes, get those likes up. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on TikTok. You all can't see the PowerPoint presentation on TikTok, but it's right here. Solutions for preventing mass shootings and red flag petitions. Let's go. Next one. Volunteer at a teenage or abused child shelter. You will never really know the effects of the toxicity that parents have on children until you start talking not just to your children, but to other children too. Volunteer at a teenage and abused shelter. Practical Ken says 22 watching and only 18 likes. Please hit the like button. Yes, let's go. Because the people who are supposed to be here, they are here. Look for family and consumer science courses. What is that formally called? Home economics. Part of the reasons why, we're going to get to a local staff. Part of the reasons why these children are bored because you aren't giving them anything to do that is toward their outcomes when they get older. The things that you don't teach your children now, life will attempt to teach them later, but the world does not owe you understanding. Teach them now. Take an interest in your children's interest. I had a grandmother who was in my class. She was coming in to get some fingerprints, right? She heard a video that I was playing and got triggered and started a conversation. Come to find out, her children love Fortnite. A lot of children do. Her children, or her adopted children, love computer programming. I asked her, did you capitalize on that to try to get them some future services and get them some more classes and things of that nature? No, I didn't. So now when they're being destructive, now when they're being evil, now when they're being disrespectful, now when you feel they're not listening and you want to beat on them, you didn't pay attention to their interest. Here we go. Here's another one. Address bullying. Teachers, don't promote it. Don't promote it. Man, I'm telling you, not every teacher is a good teacher. There are some teachers that are out there that man, and I'm going to say this next one too, because they both go hand in hand. Stop treating failing students like outsiders. What are the 3 styles of learning? Audio, visual, kinetic. What are the 3 environments plus that children learn in? Analytical, creative, practical. Is your teacher teaching your child the way they learn? Is your teacher dealing with their own problems that they are suffering from? Is your teacher purposely ignoring your child? If you've heard the profiles of these mass shooters, these active shooters, ostracized, alone, not being paid attention to. He was just a normal guy. You know, he was alone. He was to himself. Wait till we get to the part where I talk about the things that parents say to children about. You're to be seen and not heard. Let's connect it. Or you're to be seen and not heard. Oh, he's a loner. He doesn't really say too much. You're to be seen and not heard. Oh, he's a loner. He doesn't really say too much. You're to be seen and not heard. Ugh, what's wrong with you? You don't speak? Some of your children are responsible for feeding into the damage that was done at home. And you parents and teachers promote some of the bullying when you allow other children to provide that peer pressure that makes that child who becomes a teenager. So you got all these years of growing up in a school system where you can't speak at home, you can't speak at school, and then let's not even go down the Black community. You don't wear the Jordans. You don't wear the Air Force Ones. You don't have the nicest clothes. You don't have this. You don't have that. All this peer pressure just to be a kid. And then when you've got some of these motivational speakers, and for crying out loud, some of them get on my freaking nerves, where they sit there and say, oh man, you need to go on ahead and toughen up and learn how to be a man. Can he just enjoy being a boy? You need to go on ahead and toughen up and be a woman. Can she just enjoy being a girl? Why does she have to? Oh, well, you look. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Focus. Look at what these schools do to these children who are passing, doing very well. They get on honor roll. They get, pushed out there for their accolades and things like that. But the kids who are failing, they get put aside, they get put on IEPs, they get put in detention, they get treated like shit. They get treated horribly. I thought the purpose of success, and I thought failure was a part of success if you learn from it. See, there's no focus. There's no focus on what, thank you for that, Jennifer. There's no focus on what caused that child to fail. So you're not going to get this conversation talking about parental accountability from politicians, which is the next thing. Stop listening to politicians who seek to use the family trauma you don't know of or about for their benefit. These politicians are capitalizing off of your family's trauma. They are capitalizing off of that. They are capitalizing off of that. They know you're going through the problems, but they're not going to tell you about them because that's what keeps them employed. Victims advocates who continuously victimize victims for their own pockets. If you think about it, a percentage of these agencies are nonprofit, which means they can't do anything to produce money to keep them paid. So what they will do is find your trauma. And when they find your trauma, they will capitalize on it and just give you just a little bit more medicine to keep you coming back. Just a little bit more thing to keep you coming back. Just a little bit more thing to keep you coming back, and never the thing to get you off of it, because if they get you off of it, that means one less person they have to service, which means one less person who has a job to service that person. My daughter lucked out. She had IEPs all through school because all of her struggles and none of her teachers treated her like an outsider. She was blessed. Lucky you. There are some people who have bona fide IEPs, but there are some children who were given those statuses. Stop taking your children to be, here we go, I'm going to piss some folks off. Stop taking your children to be diagnosed with mental defects to collect benefits. There are a lot individualized education plan. There are a lot of children who are diagnosed. My brother, when he was younger, was one of them. I love my mother now, but I did not always have that love for her before. My mother took my brother to get him diagnosed with ADHD. that he didn't even have. He didn't even have ADHD. He didn't even have any of those mental problems that she got him diagnosed with, but she got that to collect a check. And when you tell a child things over and over and over and over again, something's wrong with you. You're this, you're that. I think that's the next bullet point. Yes. Sorry, guys, I'm loud, but I'm passionate about what I'm saying. Stop calling your children the retarded I'm going to say it, fuck it, retarded nerds. I just sat there and talked to there was a man who called me earlier this morning after watching one of these lives. And he was talking about a lot of different things. And when he was talking about a lot of different things, he was talking about his background. And after he was talking about his background, he sat there and he was talking about, well, I'm from this family. I'm from this. I'm from that. I'm white trash. I'm this. And I sat there and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Marquise, did you get the link? Whoa, 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 whoa. I said, stop calling yourself white trash. Stop that. That is a negative term that you were taught to call yourself by people who share the same skin color as you, but have different socioeconomic statuses, and made you feel bad about your blue collar self, made you feel bad about the socioeconomic circumstances that you were born into to make them feel good. Stop calling yourself that. Stop calling them other demeaning labels. Stop competing with your kids. You heard me. Stop competing with your kids. Stop trying to live vicariously through your kids because you didn't do this. So now you're going to put the pressure on them for them to do this. Maybe it's not in the cards for them to be that. Let's normalize realistic self-esteem. Stop telling your kid you can be anything you want to be. And then when they get older, they find out that's not how the real world works. There are actually qualifiers for certain things. But because somebody lied to you, you're going to lie to them just to make them feel good. See, we're going to get down to the real nitty gritty because some people had children for that adult, for that parent's self-esteem without any regard for this child's future outcomes. You didn't have that child for their outcomes. That boy is not your son. He's someone's future husband. He's someone's future father. That girl is not your daughter. She is someone's future wife, someone's future mother, and they need to have qualifiers because while children hold intrinsic value in them being born and in them being children, as they begin to grow older, that value system changes. People become to have expectations, reasonable expectations of them. And if they can't meet those reasonable expectations, you are pushing that child into a psychological wall where mass shootings and other things are possible because you failed them. Let's normalize allowing strategic failure as a platform for success. Take a child development class. Take a psychology class. Take a leadership class. Leadership. Why would your children follow you if you wouldn't follow you? No one said you had to know everything, but you need to know. Socrates, the philosopher, said it best, and I'm paraphrasing the best way I can. I know this, and that is I know nothing. I know this, and that is I know nothing. You need to be honest about the fact that you just don't know, but you are willing to learn. You are willing to learn. You need to grow ahead of your child. See, I said that last time on a live. I was on TikTok. I said that on a live. The difference between parents and teachers in an educational establishment is the teachers in the educational establishment only know I have 46 minutes with this kid, 270 minutes a week. I don't have much time. So I have to maximize the time that I have to give them high quality lessons in a manner in which they learn and inspire them using varied styles to teach them, because I don't have much time. And at the end of the school year, I will be judged on the outcomes of these students, by these students, and by this administration, provided, air quotes, I'm in a school that will hold me accountable and not a school that just wants me there as a part of the babysitting cadre. But parents are the ones who underestimate the time and are not held accountable for the outcomes of their students. Ooh, we got more coming. Y'all in the comments, both TikTok and YouTube, let's sound off. What are some of the things that parents and teachers say to children? What are some of the things that parents and teachers say to children? Sound off in the comments. Please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you find value in this. Thank you for that. This is what happens when a hot dog vendor reads a Malcolm X book. You asshole. Yes, do as I say, not as I do. Val Cure on TikTok. Do as I say, not as I do. I'll give you one too. Lead by example. Lead by example. No real teacher worth their salt will ever say lead by example without teaching them how to do it. I can't just sit there and put on the screen 1 + 1 is 2 and say, hey, this is the example, do it. That ain't how teaching work. Respect your elders, okay? Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. Everybody, y'all probably watching on your phone. But if you are not watching your this on your phone, or if you can, look up the word respect. Look up the word respect. And I want you to type in the comments the first 2 words that come in that definition of respect. Look up the word respect. And I want you to type in the first 2 words that you find in the definition of what respect means. I'm going to go back and read your comments, but let's do this exercise. Let's do this exercise. Look it up. I want to see those in the comments, please, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, a feeling. I just said the first 2 words, not the whole definition. Wisco Mike. Sarita says a feeling. Everybody is typing a feeling, a feeling, a feeling, a feeling. So you get it. A feeling, a feeling, a feeling, a feeling. We have been taught respect all wrong. We have been taught respect. You are an overachiever, Wisco Mike. It's all good. We have been taught respect all wrong. Is it perhaps the case that the people who have been teaching us about respect have been teaching us about respect because they wanted us to see them in a better light than those who don't need them actually see them? Let's rewind that back again. Your parents taught you to love them because ain't nobody else got to. Your parents taught you to praise them because wasn't nobody smelling they bullshit. Your parents taught you to love them because people were telling them the truth and they couldn't take it. So they needed you to praise them. They needed you to build up their self-esteem, and they didn't give you shit in return. So you became an adult thinking that everybody owes you respect, and that ain't how the fucking world works. People don't owe you respect. You can do things that earn respect and still not get it and still be able to march the fuck forward. But because your parents had self-esteem issues, now they gonna pass that shit down to you. And then you grow up thinking people owe you some shit based on a fucking feeling that they are entitled to, that you don't have to like or love. You don't have to respect a person to do the right job. You just have to respect yourself to do the job. You have to be who the hell you need to be and respect yourself. You can do things that earn respect and still not get it. But as long as you respect yourself with realistic self-esteem, no one can ever disrespect you. No one can ever disrespect you. There are plenty of people in the jail or in the grave fighting for respect that you are not entitled to. I'm just telling you, Mo, I appreciate that. You said Mike set me straight on this. It stung, but it was received. And I've been better since. I constantly felt disrespected and needed to check my feelings. And that's the thing. If I can get you along in your feelings, if I could just get you in your feelings, you'll never be able to see the game that I'm playing on you. You'll never be able to see the game that I am playing on you because you are living in your feelings and not in the facts. Let's keep moving on. What are we the collection of? Our needs, education, experiences, habits, and motivations. I'm just going to give you a taste of some of the stuff that I talk about in our workshops. Because these are the things that I didn't get this stuff until I learned it. Didn't get this stuff until I learned it. And that stuff's got to be passed down. Stuff's got to be passed down. You said feelings tend to override logic 9 times out of 10. Outstanding. You are exactly correct. We are the collection of our needs, education, experiences, habits, and our motivations. What we need, what we learn to get what we need, what we experience while attempting to get what we need, how many times we did a thing, and the motivation. You hear motivation passed around a lot. You hear people saying that all the time. What is motivation? The biological, social, emotional, and cognitive forces that activate the behavior. So when we are looking at these active shootings, oh, thank you, sir. Whomever this is, Loco Saf, I'm 19 years old, well, 18 now. I need more of what you're teaching. That is why we are doing this. Biological. What are the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that activate the behavior of the active shooters? What is that? Your kids are behaving. What are the emotion? What's the emotional thing that has them feeling? How we feel based on thoughts, feelings, behavior responses, degree of pleasure, displeasure, hedonism, the desire for pleasure in the absence of pain. When you work in certain facilities and you see people cut, to you it looks ugh. To another person, this is what I'm doing to blunt the pain. What are the social forces? What are the cognitive forces that activate it? We need classes like back in the day, home ec, industrial arts, wrestling, boxing, all hands on back in schools so kids will learn what it means to work and how to build stuff and self-discipline. That's got to be a part of that. Got to be a part of that. These are all the things that could likely be missing from our schools, missing from our homes. Let's go even deep. We're about to trigger some people. If y'all ready to get to it, let's go, let's go, let's go. What are the 4 parenting styles? I don't know if you all saw that active shooter's mom. She went out toward the SWAT truck, got into an altercation verbally with them, and she showed a titty. What is the Didn't I tell y'all it was some parental stuff going on there? And not everyone gets a trophy. I'm going to drop the link, that lady, Andy. You want to join? Come on over to YouTube. I'm going to drop the link and let people come up. What kind of parenting? What kind of parent was your mom or dad? What kind of parent are you? Let's go. Authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, or uninvolved. You want the definitions? Let's go. Bam. Authoritarian. Follow the strict rules established by the parents. Now, some of y'all see these pictures. If you watch Power, you know this is Monet, right? You know this is Monet. If you ever watched Power, Book of Ghost, man, you know Monet was definitely an authoritarian. If you watch this is Tangled. Remember the story about Rapunzel in the Disney movie Tangled, right? Don't let the word Disney trigger you. You know where I'm going with this. If you've ever watched that, let's go to the rest of these symptoms. Here we go. Don't explain the reasoning behind you do what I say. Don't you dare ask me. I am your mother. I am your father. Oh my God. Ephesians 6:1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou might live upon the land which the Lord thy God give thee. Here we go. You telling them to obey you, and if they do, they will live. But if they don't, they gonna die. Wait a minute. How do I even know that you're the person to follow? I kind of guess I got no other choice because you're the one who brought me in the world. By the way, who qualified you to be a parent? Shh. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's go. If asked, because I said so. High demands and are not very responsive to their children. You must behave exceptionally. You can't make errors. Provide very little direction about what their children should do or avoid in the future. How many of your parents were authoritarian? Oh, Keith, there we go. Let the truth set you free. He said, yep, that's how I was raised. I will have to say it worked out pretty well. Keith, I don't know. Only you know. I can't say it did or didn't work out well. You could be a statistical anomaly. But for others, it don't always work out well. And let me tell you something. Sometimes we think it works out well. We get a lot of material acquisition, right? Food on the table, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, pot to piss in, window to throw it out. I brought you in this world, so I will take you out of it. So you got a good old job, and you got a family, you got this, and you got that. Bet you if I talk to the kids, I'll find out where the hole is. What's up, Mike? What's up, man? Let's push. Here we go. Authoritative. Saw somebody on TikTok say that one. Here we go. Rules and guidelines established. Children are expected to follow, but the parenting style is much more democratic. Don't let the word democratic trigger you, right? Tiffany is my name, says authoritarian parenting brings anxiety and insecurity in many. And Tracy Grimes truthfully said that was me, and it didn't work out well for mine. Patty Davis, 25 on TikTok says, I was raised by a hillbilly. Always said there is a thin line between love and hate. Responsive to their children's questions and willing to listen to their children's questions. They expect a lot of their children, but they provide warmth, feedback, and adequate support. Fail to meet these expectations, these parents are more nurturing and forgiving rather than punishing. They want their children to be assertive as well as being socially responsible, self-regulated, as well as cooperative. You cannot have self-regulated children if you are not teaching them what to do. What's going on, Katie? If you are not teaching them what to do and how to do it, if you are not teaching them, it's hard for them to be self-regulated. You said one of each so far. Wow. Let's get to the next parenting style. Here we go. Permissive. Makes very few demands of their children. These parents rarely discipline their children because they have very relatively low expectations of maturity and self-control. They're more responsive than they are demanding. They are definitely non-traditional and lenient, kind of like being a friend, right? They do not require mature behavior, allow considerable self-regulation. They avoid confrontation with their kids, generally nurturing and communicative with their children. They're more a friend than that of a parent. Is that your mom or dad? Right? Keith said, basically, I never got my ass busted that much because I knew if I did wrong, I would 100% get my ass whooped. So just having that thought sometimes help with bad behavior. Okay. Here we go. And then uninvolved. Very few demands, low responsiveness, very little communication. While these parents fulfill the child's basic needs, they're generally detached from their child's life. They might make sure that the kids are fed and have shelter, but they offer very little guidance, nothing in the way of structure, rules, or even support. And in extreme cases, they may even reject and neglect the needs of their children. Uninvolved. What kind of parent do you think the children? What kind of parent do you think the children of this, or the child, the teenager, the young guy, right? Phoenix, what's going on? What kind of child do you think the active shooter in Highland Park was? Yeah. What kind of child do you think he was? Here we go. We talked about it. Society, culture, family, and then you. Where do you get your information? This will be one of the last slides, and then I'll drop the link, bring you up, talk about some more solutions, right? Are you or this action ate up, right? Think about it. Society allows certain behaviors. Culture approves of behaviors. Family teaches the behavior, and you execute the behavior. So let's go through this project. In going through this project, and I'm going to go back to you all, I want to see what activities you all can come up with, right? What behavior do you see that you don't like in this society? And we're going to kind of keep it not controversial. You get what I'm saying, right? Name a behavior that you see, and we could talk about where it comes from culturally. I'll start with one, right? So there was a video that I was watching. I believe it was on not TikTok. It might have been Instagram, where there was a woman, black woman, twerking, teaching this Indian woman, not Indian in terms of Native American, but Indian in terms of Asian, right? And I'm going to get to it. I see you guys commenting. No respect. We already talked about that. Entitlement, okay? And so these Indians if that's the right term. Please help me out. Indians, Asians, right? Like from Pakistan, if that's correct, Pakistan, India. They were like, well, in our culture, we can't do that, right? So let's get to twerking. When you look at certain things on that level, twerking, South Asian, thank you. Okay, here we go. Society allows twerking, right? Culture, what culture are we talking about? This is where you have to do the work individually and within your family to see what kind of cultures you belong to. The black woman said, culture, this is what we do, twerking. But the South Asian or Hindu, she said, our culture doesn't approve of it. They don't allow it. So if the culture doesn't approve of it, the family is not teaching it. Therefore, she wasn't executing it. Does that make sense? Society allows it. If you begin to define certain definitions such as husband, wife, mother, father, whatever, society by way of government pretty much stays out of cultural affairs. Then when you look at culture is when you start to get more specific definitions of family activities, what's approved within that culture. If it's approved within that culture, the family will likely teach it directly or indirectly, and it increases the likelihood of you executing it. Let's go to some of the comments and see, right? No, I agree, Sarita. I agree. Not all of us think it's an acceptable dance, but not all of us represents the majority of the culture. Because if you look at social media will minimize the reach of this video. But let me have a girl. Let's just say if KD was Keisha and had a fatty and was clapping, clap, views would have been through the roof. No cancel, no nothing. It would have been through the roof. And as long as the culture supports it, family teaches it, you execute it.
Because a lot of African dances are pretty much what they're doing. If you look at like authentic African dances, they have a lot that looks like twerking.
Sure.
America just take it to a whole nother level.
Sure.
Like a whole nother level.
Here we go. Is there a difference between African twerking and African American or black twerking in terms of time, manner, and place restrictions culturally? See what I'm saying? Culturally, right? Look at the Rhode Island senator running for re-election, twerking in her ad. Oh, yes, it is out there. It is definitely out there. I'm going to send you the video. It's out there, right? And when you look at that culturally, let's go to it. Her constituents. Let's go back. Here we go. Society allows it. Why? In the political space, those who are against it may not even be her constituents. So if her constituents put her in office and want to see the clap, right? Culture. Who is her culture? Her constituents. They approve of it. The family is going to advocate or teach it. And that's what made her execute it, because that's what gets her constituents in. Granted, Jacob, you are correct. Is that appropriate for a senator? But guess what, Jacob? You're not her constituent. She is pandering to the people who are going to vote for her. Right? Let's get with another activity. I don't want to stay on twerking, but I'm just saying that's one activity. Let's find another one. I think you all mentioned some other ones up here. Let's pull up another one. Yeah, Rhode Island State Senator Tiara Mack, right? Let's put up another one. Let's name another one, right? Something that you find abhorrent, and I am gonna be mindful of what's up there because we're trying to prove a point. We're not trying to go too controversial because I've seen some other things that were put up there, and I'm not gonna read some of those comments, right? I'm looking for some more. Yeah, I don't see any more comments. I thought I saw a couple that you all put up there. Entitlement is such a gangs. Okay, we could go there on gangs too. Let's go there. Fuck it, let's go there. Entitlement is rather broad and ambiguous. Give me an entitlement and give me a subtitle or something like that. What kind of entitlement? Right? Here we go with gangs. Society allows it. You can't control it. There's too many folks, right? And you think about it, society allowing gangs and gang activity. Right. Government needs more money. We need them to build up the drug money so we can seize it. Police need calls to respond to. Otherwise, you would have no need for the police. So society allows it. Culture. What type of culture we talking about? Almost every culture has gangs. Whites, Europeans, Asians, Hispanics, blacks, right? Culture approves of it, right? Certain families teach it, which increase the likelihood that certain people involved in that culture and in that family, they execute what they see. Does that make sense? Beating the, oh my God, Jacob, let's go there. Let's go there. Beating the kids. Oh, we about to piss some folks off. Here we go. Society kind of doesn't allow it, but they don't do too much about it. You see how all we got to do is put up the topic of certain things, right? Marquise, what's up?
What it do?
You know how we put up the topic of certain things. Society, we're talking about beating the kids, and we're on the acronym 8 up. Here we go. Allows, approves, teaches, and executes, right? And here we go. When we're talking about beating the kids, society quasi allows it. On one hand, if you get a DCFS complaint, you might run into some problems. But unless there's a real complaint, nobody's really doing anything about it. So let's push to culture. What culture are we talking about? Black culture, white culture, Hispanic culture, Asian culture. Which cultures, let's put it out there, which cultures support beating their kids? Marquise probably went in the house. Which cultures support beating their kids? I'm watching you all's your comments, right? Mo said, you better not ever question a mother that disciplines her kids. Busy 69 says Americans, right? Time out versus time up. Here we go. In my experience, I've seen it more in black culture. Jacob said poor white trash culture, right? Now you said culture in America is too vague, but we don't want to say the culture in America is too vague. We want to go ahead and start listing it. So is it Sal Aguilar says Mexicans, right? So you see how we're talking about that? Here we go. Society allows it. Culture approves of it. Family teaches it. How do they teach it? That's definitely by example. You beat your kids because they beat your ass and you execute it. Does this make sense? You said you whooped yours when bad. You said, Keith said, here's the phone, down 911 while I grab my belt. That butt will be sore before they get here. I don't support beating the kid, but I do support a belt on the ass when it's required. So, Keith, let me ask you this. If you're in my class and you're fucking up and I pull out my belt and beat your ass?
That ain't required.
Huh?
That ain't required.
Oh, what do you mean it's not required?
Certain incidents and certain issues that parents go through with kids are things that at certain point in time I think a firm ass whooping, a firm built to the ass will actually get that mental going. I'm not saying just beat the shit out your kids. I'm not an advocate for that at all. Like I don't whoop my kids, but I have
Katie, you kind of went out a little bit.
So we talk about whooping kids' ass right now.
Yeah.
So this is how I feel. If the parent
there I go.
has went to some type of psychiatric or psychological treatments for themselves first to see if they have any emotional or physical scars inside their body, then I'm okay with you disciplining your kid.
Mm,
And the
I
reason
don't know.
why I say that, and the reason why I say that is because I wouldn't want a parent who hasn't come to grips with who they are and what they've been through admonishing or treating their kid the way that they were raised because they don't understand what's wrong with them first. And your
Okay.
emotions of your childhood scars come out in your whoopings that you're giving your kid.
It's safe to say that it is a thin line between abuse and discipline. There's a
No,
very
you're
thin
not
line.
feeling me.
I'm
You're not
hearing
feeling me.
I'm hearing what you're saying. There's a thin line between abuse and discipline. It is a very thin line. I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that if it wasn't for a bit being on my ass the time that it was, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. It was just me as a
Okay,
kid that found out that I didn't like a belt on my ass, so I stopped doing things that caused the belt to be put on my ass, and it made me
so
change my outlook on different things. If you look at how, let's say we talk about cultures, Mike mentioned games. If anybody has ever been in a game, excuse me, you know that there were rules and regulations in order to be part of that game. Once you violated those rules and or regulations, you got your ass whooped. You didn't have to stay in the game. You had an option to walk away, not join at all. It's not like that the game was your mother or you was born to that game. You had an option. But it gave you a sense of discipline, a sense of belonging, whatever it is that you joined it for or not for. You knew that there was rules and regulations that came about that. The thing that I have a problem with is when people try to downlook on discipline your kid. In my opinion, when all this dumb shit started happening is when that little boy divorced his parents because he didn't like the way that they was treating him. And the states actually allowed him to divorce his parents. That right there gave the power of being a little fucktard to the kids. I grew up in an era where my aunt worked for DCFS. She's still there, about to retire. I grew up in an era where she whipped my ass. Yeah, let's just be honest. And she worked for DCFS. So it's one of those things where if an ass whooping was warranted, we got our ass whooped. I'm not saying we got beat, but you're gonna take some licks. You know what I'm saying? And everybody says that slave mentality. But if you think about pretty much it's a consequence for everything that you do.
Come on, that lady, Aggie. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link if y'all want to come on in.
It's a consequence for everything that you do. Some kids don't learn from taking a video game away. Some kids don't learn from you can't go outside.
I
Some
just
kids
dropped the
don't
link.
some kids don't learn from no phone.
Hold on. Let
Some
me
kid
let me, let me give them some parameters. I'm dropping the link. If you coming on, you got a cam up, your face got to be on, and you waiving any rights to privacy. We can repost this. Let's go.
You know, some kids don't learn that way. Some kids don't learn from the aspect. I've been out in the streets before where I've had parents tell a kid, sit down now. All right, now sit down. Sit down before you hurt yourself. Sit down for they go back and forth 1,000 times. The moment she says, man, sit your ass, that child act straight and sit down and like a little toy soldier. So it's like one of them things, like you have to know you're a kid. I know my children. I don't have to whoop them. I get my bullshit in early. I'm gonna be honest with you, at an early age. I don't have to whoop them. A stern voice, come here, I'm in your ear, I'm in your face. and I'm gonna tell you what I need to tell you in a nice, good voice, and you're gonna do what it is because they know what the possible response could be, and they getting off scot free, and they get it done.
All right, to be continued. I gotta switch to my laptop when I get in the house.
Tefo, see you
Yes,
in a
sir.
minute. Oh, I just dropped the link. Nobody in the back. Nobody trying to come up. Come on, y'all. I'm gonna drop this link again. Y'all trying to? Here we go. All right. I'm gonna say this. My YouTube is Instructor Mike. Instructor Mike. Instructor Mike. My thing is this when it comes down to whoopings. How many parents are actually qualified to be teachers?
Well,
You said you in and you waiting. I don't see you in the back room.
That's one of the,
That lady Andy.
very,
Hold on. That lady Andy. I don't see you in the back room. You said I would come on. I took my teeth out for the day. Okay. Yeah, I see you, Andy. Hey. All right.
Hello there.
Let me get this
Hello.
out. Hey, let me get this out, and then I would definitely open up the floor for you. My thing on whoopings is this. I'm not an advocate for them. I think there are so many ways to learn how to teach your child. I think there are just so many different ways to educate them, to motivate them. Now, hold on. Hold on. I didn't say anything about not putting them in the front lean and rest. I didn't say anything about some doggone front back goes.
I like wall sits.
Huh?
I like wall sits.
Hell yeah. I didn't say anything about not sitting here when you need to, build them up physically and mentally and stuff like that. There are other things that you could do. Sarita knows what I'm talking about. Y'all know there's other things that you can do beyond putting your hand on your child and causing a beating.
So let me ask you this, Mike.
Mentally strong. I'm gonna make you physically strong, but I am not going to, because here's this. What if the child is right and I was wrong in something that I told them to execute and they didn't do it? What if I can't take back that ass whooping?
You're right. But see, Mike, let me ask this question. Are you not an advocate because of your past?
Am I what?
Are you not an advocate for ass whoopings or beatings because of your trauma?
Being a child abuse survivor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What happens when I got a buddy, I wish I could call him and get him on here. He'll tell you straight out. He was a fucktard. He ran his mama amok, bro. I'm not gonna mention his name because he's not on here. And if he call, I text him. If he texts me back, I'm gonna put him on here. He would tell you if it wasn't from his mama fucking him up, he would not have made it to the police department, the police force, be a detective, none of that other shit, because his mother literally would leave the school. That she get called up to the school for what he did. The moment she turned the corner, he did it again. He did all the front lean rest, the wall sits, all that. He said all that did was make me a stronger fucktard. And I'm like, dude, I love your honesty. That didn't bother me as a kid because it was like working out to me. I had an uncle from the military. So that right there, it wasn't a form of punishment for me. He told me I do push-ups. Okay.
You're missing a lot of context. You're missing a lot of context. I am not going to take all 18 years of your friend's childhood and just box it into one scenario or a few scenarios where he was labeled, as you state, fucktard. There is some context there that we are missing as to what got him to that stage. There's some absent people in his life, some stuff. I'm not going. Mike, don't get me wrong. You do have some problematic kids, but when you dive deep deep. I'm talking about pissing people off, asking questions. They don't want to answer the questions because they know what the truth is going to reveal, that it was the parent. I'm not going. I'm not going.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
All right. So y'all don't know me from Adam. All right. So I'm gonna give you a little skit of my background.
Facts.
Right. I'm a mama. I live in the South. I'm from Alabama. I'm a
Roll
veteran.
Tide.
Roll Tide. That's right. I was in the Army. I'm a veteran. Been a bouncer, unarmed and armed security officer. I worked in the jail, and I was also a state correctional officer. Okay. With that background, I will tell you, I had a good rapport as a CO and a jailer, especially because you would be surprised how an individual will take information and guidance and advice if you just break it down Barney style for them and just hear them out within reason, because you don't want them to just in your ear. Within reason, how far that will take them. So when my youngins want to be little hellions sometimes, because they are the young kids. All right, you want to do something crazy? Hit that wall. Bend them knees. Sit right there until you act right. Or hey, hold. You know what? Hold this paper out. See how this ain't heavy, right? This piece of paper ain't heavy, is it? Now after a couple minutes, it start getting heavy now, doesn't it? Things like that work better than me having to put my hands on my babies. But people also got to realize, when, especially in the correctional officer setting, when you have individuals that are incarcerated, right, that have been through all kinds of stuff, majority of the time it's on their own, doing their own acts, their own decision makings, right? You got to think about the bigger picture. Well, what led them to be this kind of individual? Well, what were their parents like? How were they brought up in life? Did they receive any tools or resources to be a successful and decent human being of society? No, half the time it's not. I tell you, when I had my most recent inmate I had was a female, and bad as hell, bad as hell. But I had a good rapport with her. I'm like, hey, Miss Ma'am, come here. Come here. What's wrong? Why are we acting out? Because you don't do that with me. Why are you doing that with the other CO? Why? Oh, Officer N, they don't know how to talk to people. Okay, well, now you can talk to me. What's wrong? And then she laid it out. I'm like, all right, well, go get your book real quick. Go get a piece of paper and your book real quick. But why, Officer N? I didn't ask you to ask me why. Just go do it and bring it back, and I'll explain. She brings the notebook back to me and a piece of a pencil, excuse me. And I'm like, all right, write down your short-term goals. What do you mean, Officer N? Write down your short-term goals. Give me 3. When you figure that out, next page, write down your long-term goals. When you figure that out, next page, write down the things that you're good at that are not illegal. Like things that you're generally good at that are not illegal. I'm not talking about, dealing drugs. I mean, like, not illegal. Then write down on the next page things that interest you that are not illegal. Right? This individual is now in rehab and doing a lot better for herself. Because I was able to take the time to do things like that, to think about the bigger picture of well, hell, yes, I'm in prison. What can I do when I get out? Well, let's think about it. You got all the time in the world to think about it. Let's write it down. 15 minutes a day, figure it out. It took her about 3 weeks to figure it out, but she figured it out.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people don't do that.
And you're a
Go.
teacher, and see, here's this. I want to read this comment, and then Marquise is yours. Loco Sav said, but I be honest, when I was told not to do something and I do it anyway, then yeah, I deserve them taps. And I'm going to tell you this, Loco, I get what you're saying, but I'm going to even push back on that, because there are a lot of parents who don't understand. That's just like sitting here. Let me give you just one quick story, right? Here we go. Touching the stove. Don't touch the stove because the fire's hot. Well, who are you talking to? If you're talking to the doggone kid, then you're teaching from your perspective, not from the perspective of how that child learns, because everything in their life up to this point that has been hot has been comfortable. It's been good. So the hot as it relates to that child is don't touch it. It's hot. Oh, hugs are hot. Food is hot. Bath is hot. It's hot. Hot must be good. Instead of don't touch it. You're going to burn the shit out your hand. Don't touch it. It's going to be painful. It's going to suck. It's going to this. It's going to that. The thing is, if parents don't understand how to teach in the way the child learns, and this has been proven, plenty of child development, child psychology classes to discuss these things. That parents are some of the most unqualified folks to actually teach children because they look at things from the lens of the adult. They don't look at things from the lens of the child and teach it to a way they understand it. How many parents won't even pick up a fucking book and read to their kids, but expect the kids to come home and bring grades when the parents' grades suck? So you can't even teach them because you can't even do the homework. And the pandemic showed that shit. Oh, this that new math. Marquise, go.
So a couple of things. Of course, I came in late. The first thing was listen to what you just said about that stove. I have mentioned this multiple times on this show. Communication is the worst form of communication. What Mike just said was that stove is hot, don't touch it. What is Mike articulating to that child?
Shit, I don't know. Go ahead.
Exactly. What you're articulating to this child is you want a positive result by telling them something negative.
Mm-hmm.
Don't touch that stove. It's hot. When I tell you don't think of the color red, what are you going to do?
They're going to color red.
So why am I telling you don't touch it because it's hot? And the first thing you want to do is do what?
Touch it.
So that's number one, parenting skill number one. Learn how to communicate. You can't get a positive from a negative. I always tell my kids the same thing. Remember to do this. Why? Because if I say don't forget to do it, what did I just tell you to do?
Forget to do it.
So again, number one, as I've always said in every show we've been on, communication is the worst form of communication because you hit it on the head when you said the adult speaks from the perspective of being an adult. But the truth is a person speaks on the perspective of their own understanding.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the problem is to teach, you have to understand what this person understands to teach them. So that's how communication breakdown. As I've been listening, I'm like, there's a communication breakdown right there. You're trying to explain something from your perspective without understanding what their perspective is. The other step.
Okay.
The other step. We all heard the book about the 5 love languages, correct?
Okay.
Why isn't there a book on the 5 languages of discipline? What is your child's discipline language? Maybe your child doesn't receive ass whoopings and thinks, you know what? Ass whoopings are a good thing. Lord have mercy, I'm going to do better. You're right. Taking a toy away might not do something. But you know what? I hit kids on a psychological level. That's where I'm at. I don't believe in spankings or whoopings. I had one of my kids, I won't say which one, they acted up. And I was like, what do you really want for Christmas? Oh, I really want this. I had my child's mother put that gift at the front door. Every time this kid went to school, they looked at that device and realized your ass can't even touch it for Christmas. And it's yours.
But you still bought it though, right?
I'm all about psychological warfare.
But you still bought it though, right?
I still bought it, yes.
You still bought it. Guess what?
And
Me as a kid,
touch it until I said so.
But guess what? Me as a kid, I didn't give a shit because I knew you bought it. I'm gonna get it eventually.
But what did you just say, KD?
Me as a kid.
Right? I'm not talking about you.
You gotta. That's why I said earlier. You gotta know your kid because I know some
So
kids.
this is the thing, and this is the other thing. And before I logged off and had to switch up, the other thing is I heard a lot of I statements. KD comes from a 2-parent household. He has a wife, and he has a wife.
I don't. Stop. Time out.
You don't have a wife?
I'm raising a 2-parent house.
Okay, so Paul, you have a wife, right?
I got a wife. I didn't come
Okay,
from
so
a
let me phrase
household.
my statement. Maybe I didn't say it correctly. KD is a part of a 2-parent household.
Yes.
But KD used a whole bunch of I statements, did he not?
I did.
So the thing is this. He's saying I. There's 2 parents in that house. So their kids are getting disciplined from both sides.
Yeah, but my way of discipline.
So pause, KD, you went. I didn't cut you off.
Go ahead.
So the thing that KD is not talking about is the fact that when KD ain't around, they're still disciplined in that house. They're still disciplined when KD ain't around. So when KD ain't around, there's still reinforcement of the rules and regulations. Unless KD is saying his wife don't hold up, no discipline. So the thing is that exactly.
I do have
I'm gonna say this. We have 2 different styles of discipline.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. You know why it does matter? Because when you have 2 different styles of discipline, I can remember back when my daughter was 4 or 5 years old. My daughter used to bully her mother and push upon her and lay her weight on her when she couldn't have her way. And I used to step in and say something about it. And then I started thinking about it. I said, if she only listens to me when I'm not here with
Oh,
Oh,
right. So listen to what he said. We have two styles
Mike.
of discipline. Did he
there
not
we
just
go.
say that?
Okay, hold on. I'm back.
Right.
I used to think about what would I do, what would she do with her mother? And it was brought to my attention that I was doing that every time I see her act out. I would jump in and get at her. And so I had to have a conversation with her and let her know, like, hey, it's not going to happen whereas I'm going to be around all the time. What happens if I'm not here? You have to step up. But she has her own certain way of dealing with the kids.
Mike.
I have my own way of dealing with the kids. Our ways are actually totally different. I'm a cusser. I'm a yeller. I'm a peel the paint off the wall type person. She's not. So our children knows discipline on both levels, but they know daddy is a hell raiser. Daddy will come home at no 30 in the morning and kick the shit out your bed and get everybody up in the whole house, even the fucking dog. Everybody gonna get to moving when I come home. My
Now,
kids know that mom not gonna do it. She waits till in the morning till we get up and she'll make us do it. So go ahead.
and I feel you on that, but no matter what you just said, the first words out your mouth was, we have two styles of discipline. No matter how you did it, the word discipline comes from both of y'all. It don't matter if you come in there drill sergeant style and she comes in there with the mother may I. It's still discipline in that house from two sides of the coin. It don't matter what type it is, it still exists. When KD and around, discipline still is in that household, whether it's the KD type of discipline or not, there's still a form of discipline in the household. So no matter what, it is a two-parent front with discipline. It doesn't matter what type of discipline, it's still there. So it doesn't matter. What I'm specifically saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it does.
I'm listening.
I think it does play a factor in it because I have a son and a daughter, right? I'm a single parent. So I have learned what you just said a minute ago, that not each child takes to discipline the same way. So how I discipline my son is completely different than how I discipline my daughter. I can take things away from my son and we back on track. But my daughter, we're going to have to be doing them wall sits and holding paper, planks, something, because that's what gets through to her. Me taking toys away from her ain't going to affect her not one bit. But when I was a CO, I didn't have to raise my voice at all to any of my inmates. Now, I might have to been like use my drill sergeant or my inmate voice to redirect, but I always used to tell them, I don't need a dog cuss you out. I don't need to scream and yell at you to get my point across. You're going to come with me, step aside away from everybody else, and we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. And that always worked for me.
So, Andy, what did you just disagree with? You just really reaffirmed everything I just said.
So, to continue with that is, as a single parent, I've also learned that me disciplining my daughter will work more from coming from me than my son. Like, I get it done with my son, yes, but he will listen to more of his father, who is 3.5 hours away,
right,
than me. I have to really push harder to discipline him, even though I get it done because I'm a very stern and consistent parent. But it is easier for my ex-husband to discipline our son than our daughter.
But Andy, what you said though was this: you know the love language, aka the discipline language of your son. And you know the discipline language of your daughter, correct?
Correct.
You are a what type of parent?
Single parent.
You see the difference in what? Now, here's the thing. Everything you just said reaffirmed everything I just said. You found the discipline language of your children, and you're a single parent. What I specifically said about KD was that when KD leaves from the same household he is with his wife, they're still disciplined. When it comes to two separate homes,
but to that, okay, so if he leaves the home and his wife takes care of the kids and uses the discipline, this and that, what if one of them kids don't take to her discipline as well as his discipline?
KD comes back in.
But you know what I'm saying?
But then KD comes back in. But no matter what, his household is different because the kids can visibly see both parents don't play on a daily basis. It's a difference when kids think they can play mother versus father because mother and father aren't in the same home.
They do. They do that when you in the same home.
Oh yeah, they can try.
They
can try. But what did I just say? It's a difference when the mother and father in the same home can show a united front.
Yeah. I agree in the sense of if the parenting styles and the discipline styles are the same, but if they differ, it's hard to stay consistent. Is I guess more my point. You know,
exactly.
when you have two different discipline styles or parenting styles, it's hard to stay consistent with disciplinary stuff.
Especially if the other parent is counterproductive to the discipline style.
Correct.
And that's a whole different talking point. We can go there too. Because we can go with parents who self-sabotage.
Yeah, there's that.
Or let me rephrase that. Self-sabotage as well as try to sabotage the other parent because the other parent who is a I don't play that nonsense parent is seen as the bad parent because the parent who smokes weed, smokes cigarettes, and drinks allows that behavior whenever you hang out with me.
Do y'all see why active shooters want to shoot right now?
Mm-hmm.
We can't even agree on this shit. So you know they over there like fuck. I think I'm gonna do it.
If that's what they ass crazy, they don't need to have no goddamn kids because, like you say, what I've learned and what I've noticed. Just like for myself, when you first started off, Narkey said I came.
Eddie, hold on. Can you remember what you were about to say Can you remember what you were about to say? For 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
I want to address something that Mo just said. You missed what KD said. They have two totally different parenting styles. The word parenting wasn't used. Disciplining and parenting isn't the same damn thing. And that's the new issue we can talk about. But again, KD, go for it.
Oh, that's going to be interesting because as it stands right now, my opinion would say that parenting and discipline are going to be the same, very much parallel to each other. In my opinion.
Okay. Well, and we'll talk more, but I want to get KD because I want to cut him off.
So when you first said I came from a 2-parent household, that's why I was like, no. Because I was raised by a single mother.
That's not what I meant. That's why I corrected myself.
I know you should agree. I was raised by a single mother. My mother, I tell you, I could call Cheryl Trubetise right now. And she'll tell you, I call her a thug, a rebel without a cause. My mother raised more hell than Satan himself in that household. She said she got her bullshit in with us early because she knew that I was going to be way bigger, stronger, and taller than she was. To this day, I humble myself deeply and reverence myself in front of my mother when it comes down to my mother. Where am I going with this? I didn't have a dad around till my stepdad came around, and I'm going to be honest with you, when he first came around, the level of respect for him was basically none and void. But yet my mother had a backup tool, an ace in the hole. Her ace in the hole was my uncle from the military. And my uncle had a weight belt that was about 12 inches wide, and he used to sit there with our baseball glove oil and soften it up. That's what he spent his days doing off work, softening it up. And we knew that once you got beyond the discipline of mom, you was going to see Uncle Sam. And when you go to see Uncle Sam had a psychological, physiological, and a soul-logical way of disciplining you. He gonna talk to you while whooping your ass and touching your soul at the same time.
Amen.
We didn't go see Uncle Sam often. Well, at least I didn't, because guess what? I don't need all three of them. But it was always known in my mind that if you think that you're gonna go beyond what mom says, you're gonna go visit Uncle Sam. And when Uncle Sam got hold to you, he didn't want no excuses. He didn't want no nothing. It was strictly, what did your mama tell you to do? What did your mama say? And once you explain to him what your mama said, that's when you start meeting, your soul start leaving you and everything else. It wasn't abuse, but the way in which he did it, it made you feel. It made you feel.
Yep. Best I play with that McDonald's internet.
Come on, Mike. I know you got something to say about it. Let's go.
Hey, I'm about to say you better go because I got my definitions ready to go since someone says I'm mincing words. Because they want to say that there's a difference.
I got Obamacare internet. I switched over to Xfinity. I switched over to Xfinity and got a new box, and this new box fucking sucks.
Got that great value Wi-Fi.
Man, listen,
Right.
this new box from Xfinity sucks. I'm about to call them in the morning.
His internet ain't in network.
Something.
And I don't know if I got too many devices on it or what, but this shit sucks. But anyway, but it's just one of the things. Like I said, once you know your kids, all kids don't need to be whooped. All kids don't need to be hit. All kids don't need to be punished as far as taking things away from them or not let them go outside. It all really depends on your kid. I'm gonna tell you now, I'm not going on Jerry Springer saying my kid whooped my ass. I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. I wouldn't. Dude, listen, I'm not going on TV talking about my kid whooped my ass. You've seen them shows. I guarantee you to see them shows. Man, look here. I put on a fucking wig and wear some 10-inch goddamn high heels before I go do some shit like that.
Look,
my kid ain't gonna whoop.
I got a funny story for you, KD. So one day I came back. Now, granted, my kids at the time were, I think, 7 and 5, and they were going through martial arts and stuff because I think self-defense is important, right? One day I come home, I see that my door is cracked. I immediately pulled out my Glock, told the babies to sit in the car, don't open the door unless it's a police officer or mama, right? My daughter's like, I'll go in there. I know how to do martial arts. I'm like, Miss Ma'am, little Ronda Rousey Jr., get your ass in the car and don't come out of this car unless mommy says it's okay. And I clear the house, I come back. Must have been I not pulled the door quite shut, right? I'm my baby girl. I broke it down. I got on my knees. I'm my baby girl. Listen, I understand you go through martial arts and it's great to learn all that and get that training, but keep doing that training, right? However, my thing is, baby love, is do you think you can overpower mama? She's like, not yet. I'm like, first of all, not never. Secondly, your training is good for right now while you're as a kid, but when you get grown up like mommy, then you can handle these situations on your own. But that's why we do it now. But until then, mommy handles it. These kids are something else. Like they just want to get in. I'm like, no, baby love, sit your hand down.
Right. But that's the reason why I said for me, and I can't speak for nobody else, even by dictionary standards, there's a difference between parenting and discipline. And the reason why I say that is because maybe that's why there is a disconnect with some of these kids and these parents, because they don't realize there is a difference between parenting and discipline.
What's parenting?
So by definition, parenting is the raising of a child by its parents, the act or process of becoming a parent, or the taking care of someone in the manner of a parent. That's parenting.
So let's look up the word raising.
We can't go to discipline?
Okay, go to discipline, but then I'm going to go back to that word.
Control gained by enforcing obedience or order.
Okay.
That screams parenting.
Control gained by enforcing disobedience or order. It does not say anything about
obedience.
Hold on. Okay, obedience.
Yes.
It doesn't say anything about beating.
Mike, let me ask you this.
Hold on. Now go to raising. Nope, we're not going to go on ahead and get off that. I
go for you, brother.
Of raising.
Yep, raising. I got you right now. Raising. You said raisin, right? Like the raisin in the sun?
Hell no. Yeah, you know how I said raising.
Okay. So raising, to cause or help to rise a standing position, to stir up, to flush from cover, to recall from or is from death, to set upright by lifting or building.
Okay, so let's stop there.
I like that one.
Hold on, let's stop there. None of those things mean teaching. Hold on, don't conflate it. None of those
place higher in rank or dignity. Elevate.
Even in and I'm gonna go biblical. Even in the Bible says train up a child. It doesn't say raise. It doesn't say discipline. Train. Teachers teach. And here's this.
So wait, are you saying?
Hold on, here we go. Hold on. Now I let y'all run this bitch. So hold on.
Oh Lord.
It does not say teach. And the thing is, teachers in the school system have, whether it be public or private, they have more of an impact in a short amount of time without putting their hands on our children because they are qualified than parents who have not been evaluated for the position they've created and then want to beat and control and enforce discipline simply because the child could in fact be smarter than the fucking parent. But we can't have the parent looking like they're fucking dumb. So the child is up here and the parent's down here. You gotta fucking smack your little ass down here because you can't be smarter than me. That's what I'm talking about.
Sound like a slave master.
And there are more of those parents than there are of you four. Or me too. So you know what the fuck I meant.
Us four.
The four.
Of four. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, especially here down in the South, it's hard to see other parents that think like this down in the South. It's very hard. I grew up in Alabama. It's horrible down here. And this is obviously I'm the only white person in this fucking chat right now. We can make that.
That should go make a difference.
But my point is, right? My son went on a field trip this past school year to the Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery, Alabama, right? And we sat at the back of the bus during this museum. And in front of this bus seat in this museum, as they're going through the simulations and stuff like that, I'm watching all these white kids just ha ha he and I'm whispering in my son's ear the background of all this. And I'm also seeing a young black mother with her black son in front of us sitting doing the same damn thing that I'm doing right now. And then my son asked me, well, why was this like this, mama? I'm like, well, unfortunately, baby, there were a lot of people that looked like us that did these horrible, horrendous things and still do this today. He's like, but I have friends that are black and brown. I'm like, and baby, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But it was only me and my son doing this and that black mother and that black son of hers doing the same thing, giving the backstory. You don't see it too often of explaining all these big, important topics we need to be, getting in our children's brains like this, And me and my beautiful best friend, she's a black woman and she has a mixed race daughter, but you couldn't tell she's mixed race by looking at the child. That's my baby girl. That's my niece. And we had to explain one day to my very vanilla ass children what racism was and the history behind it, because in school systems, especially down in the South, I don't know because I've never been anywhere else in the country during the school systems, but it's very whitewashed. And so I had to tell my white children with my black best friend about racism and about the N-words. And I told my kids, I'm like, baby, I want y'all to understand this. You will never hear this come out of my mouth, and it will never come out of y'all's mouth either while y'all up in my household. And I had my best friend say the N-word and the derived term of it. Well, mama, why would people that look like us say that to people that look like Aunt Mimi? Baby, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that, but it's very wrong and it's a very disgusting word and it should never come out your mouth. Well, mama, why did people look like us do that look like people like Aunt Mimi? Baby, I couldn't tell you the reason and why. It's just, that's just what the history behind it was, and it's horrible. And we got to make sure that we treat everybody how we want to be treated and go forward with that to make some change there. And then my oldest, my son, he's like, well, mama, were there people that looked like us help try to stop this back then? I'm like, yes, baby, there was. But there wasn't a lot of them. And then, Black History Month came around this year, and he came home one day and he's like, mama, I really loved that black man. I was like, what are you talking about, baby? And it didn't click in my head right away. I was like, baby, are you talking about Martin Luther King Jr.? He's like, yeah, I just really loved him. I'm like, baby, you never met him. Why do you have?
Thank you.
Why do you have so much love for him? He was like, well, he just did wonderful things and he was trying to make a difference. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, but for you to say you loved him, I mean, you never met him. He's like, well, I don't have to, And
Yeah, I understand where he's
It's
coming
just
from too.
you got when you talk about these tough subjects of racism and all this, that, and third, the alphabet mafia, you got to be able to start teaching these kids at a young age and break it down Barney style for them to understand until they're older, to where you can explain it a little bit more.
I like how she
Well,
said.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
No, I
Let's
like
hear
no. We
No, we agree with you 100% with the
agree with you.
alphabet
Yeah,
mafia.
we're good.
Mafia. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just checking.
Hey,
You're
posted
good.
that up there, Mike. Proverbs.
No,
29:15?
and I went there. Michael Monroe. He said Proverbs 29:15, and I went and looked it up, chapter and verse. A rod and reprimand impart wisdom, but a child left undisciplined disgraces its mother. Now, my whole thing is this, Mike. If you just like beating the shit out your kid, just go on ahead and say it. Just say that. Don't you say that, because that's something be a mandated reporter somewhere around here. But don't do that. What I'm saying is this. So what is discipline? If you look at anything in the academia where there is a discipline is a course or set of courses where there is actual instruction in teaching a person a discipline. Marquise practices and teaches a discipline. I do. Katie does. Anybody who's an instructor, we don't beat the shit out of our students. And so when do we get to be
mentally?
No, I'm just fucking
No.
with you. You know we don't do that.
No, but what I'm saying is we don't discipline.
So, Mike,
When are we going to get to the point where, and this is the hardest, and I will end with this question and open the flow for y'all to do it. But when will we start to see parents actually apologize and not give this emergency blanket apology? That's just like multiple gunshot wounds, and then you get delivered to Christ Hospital, and then the best trauma surgeon takes out a fucking emergency blanket and says, bam, this should heal you. I'm sorry. No, you got to address each of those bullet wounds. And every time you beat the shit out of a kid, likely because of some misunderstanding and definitely out of fucking anger, that's a bullet wound and a scar that you put on that child, especially if you beat the shit out of them for something that you misunderstood, or because you believe some of these teachers that sat there and said your child was acting bad, when in fact the teacher was probably fucking up, but the child don't know how to communicate to the way you understand, so you sat there and beat that child. And then they grow up with those doggone scars, and then they pass that shit down, and all they wanted to know was that they had their advocate, their mother, their father, whom the fuck ever was there, believe them for just fucking once. You never believed me. Matter of fact, you taught me how to lie. When you asked me how that dress looked, and I told you you look like the USS Arizona rebuilt because it was battleship gray. And I was telling the truth because I saw it on the History Channel, but you couldn't take the truth because you know you too big to squeeze
You're
your
wrong
ass
for that
in
reference.
color dress. And I can't tell you the truth because you can't take it. So you beat the shit out of me and you teach me to lie to save your ego. Now, when I try to tell you the truth, you don't believe me. And now you think I'm lying all the time. And now I'm grown as shit, can't tell the truth, can't speak up. And now I need healing. And all I needed from you was a deep and sincere apology and an acknowledgement
of your own
that
emotional
you were
trauma.
wrong. Before
So
we normalize, I'm gonna end with this. I'm sorry. Before we normalize going to get a therapist, how about we normalize parents being their adult child's therapist and start fucking apologizing for the reckless shit you did when you were a broken ass parent where you were not qualified to be one, but you became one because your pussy worked.
can I ask you a question, Mike? I think I asked you this. I'm not going to ask you this.
Because if a pussy don't work, you can't have it.
I'm not going to ask you that question. Let me ask you guys this.
Andy, why are you looking at me like that?
Because here's the thing. I think the biggest misconception into when people become parents is that, even if we had it, because when I was a child, I got my ass tore up. I got my ass handed to me.
I did too.
Right. And so when I became a mom, I thought, I'm going to do everything better than my parents. I'm going to do this and this. And then it happens. Then you're like, oh shit, how, like, what do we do to fix that? What do we do to teach these young adults and stuff to get there?
Oh yes, okay, Marquise, go and remind me the question again, Andy.
Okay, so here's the thing. After everything you just said,
Yes.
do you still believe that parenting and discipline is the same thing? After everything you just bloody said,
Well,
do you believe they're the
hold
same
on.
thing?
I think they coincide with each other.
Hold on.
No. There's a difference
Buddy,
between
hold on.
coinciding
Here
with
you
each
go.
other
If you're
and meaning the same thing.
if you're an unhealed parent, they are not the same thing. But if you are a healed and prepared parent, and people could sit there and say there is no manual for parenting, instead of just admitting you don't fucking read. There are literally hundreds of books and shit on nothing is new under the sun. There is literally a major in multiple colleges, home economic courses, things that can prepare you for the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to be able to. I knew this shit was gonna come. Here's the symptom here. Here's this. Now there are some anomalies.
There's some WebMD for parenting.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? But that's if you're prepared. And instead of just sitting here and saying, Andy, to answer your question, how do we fix it? We got to be honest. See, conversations like this is extremely important. Because if you sit here, and I know where you were going with that, Andy, because I said the same shit too. When I would sit here and date a woman and we would swap trauma stories.
just spilling it all out.
Yes, we would swap trauma stories. Then we would sit here and say, you know what? Well, my family used to ostracize me. And if they would say that word, they don't like me. I'm the black sheep. Oh, baby, you ain't got to worry about it. I'm dating you. I'm not dating your family. Yes, the fuck you are. You are dating.
You're dating her childhood trauma.
Deal.
It's a fucking package deal. And you don't find out until shit goes bad. Like, here we go. I'm going to split it both ways. If you are a woman and you didn't look at the outcomes of all the men in his family, that all the brothers and uncles and the fathers have turned all the women into baby mamas, you think you're about to be a motherfucking wife, and they haven't had a wife since the great grandmother. Shit, they ain't seen a fucking wife. But here you are, think you about to march to, there's something that I'd like to say. You ain't about to get that shit.
So,
you ain't gonna hear no wedding song.
Here's my thing though. So I'm a resourceful ass woman.
Yes.
I like knowing shit. I like
Yes.
being find shit, right? And part to that is, hold on, baby love. I don't care if you have ice cream. Go ahead. Don't make a mess. Sorry. The problem is,
whoop that ass if you
no, the problem is, like, let's refer to the Gump, aka Montgomery, Alabama, right?
Facts.
Where school systems are shit. It's absolutely horrible. They're not funded right. They don't have, good resources to be really thoroughly educated, right? So if we have all these books and material and everything else out there, we can prepare individuals to become healthy parents. How do we get that information to those, poverty areas to where it's easily accessible?
Well, here's this. The trauma you know is better than the healing you don't. See, people like to live in their trauma because it's their safe space. And they don't want to be honest about the real healing that needs to occur because the healing hurts. Do you think, look, love my mama. It took me a minute to be able to get there. My mother was a motherfucking Rolling Stone. I was born at 21. My brother was born at 23. My sister was born at 25. I didn't have eyes for that shit. Mama was a 304. She was chasing after, and I love her, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. Two things can be, that's not disrespectful. It's the motherfucking facts. My mother was chasing penis because she was looking for love. And if she sat there and would have taught me, hey, mama, I really love you. Oh my God, I love you. Hey, son, I love you. Oh my God, mommy, you do everything for me. I love you. I don't need daddy. No, this is not to be glorified. I am doing this shit because I chose wrong, because I was not who I needed to be to pick the right person to have children with. Yes, I love you too, but I am not going to have you look upon me as though single parenting is the right fucking thing to do. And I am going to train you to be different so you can pick someone that's better than me. And the problem is a lot of parents want to look good to their children instead of sacrificing how the fuck you see yourself to teach them different. And
So
that's part of the problem.
That though, so I grew up with my parents divorced when I was 11. My mom constantly remarried. Like, I don't think she can get married again in Alabama legally. That's how many times we've been through this. So I grew up not knowing what a healthy relationship was.
Yes.
And really struggled with me when I became an adult. And first chance I got, married a Marine like a dumbass. Anyways, we're going to move on. Listen. I was Army. Okay? Like, there's
all of us got married young.
Yeah, you will not bring up the fact that was just a bad man. It's not because he was a Marine.
So it's a joke. It's a joke that I say because of the Army.
I eat crayons, damn it. You will not. Crayons are delicious.
Oh, crayons are delicious. Okay, well, anyways, moving on. So the first chance that I thought that was love, and I really thought it was love. Oh, I ain't never gonna get divorced. I'm gonna be a good parent. I'm gonna learn from my parents' mistakes, this, that, and third. Became a parent to myself at almost 21 and almost 23. Got divorced at 24 or 25, excuse me. And then I'm 30 now. I've been divorced for 6 years and single for 3.5. Right. I had to learn to find happiness in my own solitude before I can even attempt to try to date somebody and try to maybe marry one day, right? That was something I had to learn. It was a hard lesson to learn, and I don't think people do that enough, is to be able to learn to find happiness in your own solitude, because what happens when you break up? All right, let's go to the next best thing. Let's go to the next best thing. That's why you see divorce rates so damn high. Well, because they want to be loved and they don't take time to heal or reevaluate themselves, And I will tell you, if you want to give me a second, I want you to hear it from an 8-year-old's words, okay? Lauren, come here, baby. I don't want y'all to say I'm coaching or nothing.
No cursing now, guys.
No cursing. Come here, baby.
PG-13 starting.
Yeah. Come here, baby. I want to ask you a quick question.
Now.
Quick question, okay? Does mommy need a man to be happy? No? Why is that?
Because you can love yourself and me and TJ.
I can love myself and TJ and you? That's what? And maybe one day I might find one that I can marry one day, but it's not required, is it? No. Are you going to live by that? You're going to be happy? Are you going to be happy with yourself first before you get married? Words. Hey. Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Hey, Mike. Jacob asked
back to the
Facebook,
ice cream.
Jacob asked on Facebook. We was talking about a mass shooter. How do we get to that? We get back to that or whatever. If just for me to reach out to just say, this right here, if these conversations were had with the mass shooter parents, as a parent, my son could tell you, there's no such thing as privacy. Close my door and build bombs in my basement. Ain't none of that shit.
But my point to what I was just trying to show y'all with my daughter is that people as parents, trying to get into relationships, get into marriage quickly and stuff like that, don't think about the repercussions of what they're doing until they're already done. And then you're in a bad situation of getting divorced, this and that and third, because I swore to myself I was never going to get divorced like my mom has done so many times. And look what I did. I've been divorced once. You know what I'm saying? And so now, after reevaluating myself for the last few years and getting myself right, now I'm in a place to where I can start, trying for that again. But it's not a requirement, and that's something I try to teach both my babies, is that you got to love yourself first before anything else.
And there's a lot of things too with that.
Yeah.
And then Katie, you got to go back to your point about because the conversation that Katie was saying is extremely important. We can't avoid these conversations. And that's why the children need to be a part of these conversations too, because there's a common theme in a certain culture that kids are to be seen and not heard.
Well, yeah.
And it's like kids are to be seen and not heard, but guess what? You hear them when they start doing active shootings. You hear them when they go to trial, and then we hear about all the abuse and all the things that they've gone through. Right? R. Kelly we're not excusing the man's behavior, but we are saying that certain things in a person's past trigger future negative societal and criminal behavior.
I wasn't disagreeing with you. I was going to make the point you said we hear about it. No, we don't. If the media was to tell you about this person's life the same way you're going to hear about it in trial and talk about the trauma these people go through, again, we're never condoning mass active threats. We're not condoning it. But to just think on the surface, this person crazy. I've said it right before I switched from phone to laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe a child should be disciplined by a parent who has not come to grips with who they are as an individual and their childhood traumas have been dealt with.
So that's 3/4 of our culture. Then that's what I'm talking about. So that's the case.
Like I said,
we won.
Yeah, and I said that before. And I said that before I got off the phone and went to the laptop.
Right.
No parent, if you have, and I mean this wholeheartedly, if you have trauma, whether it be from your childhood, past relationships, you can't stand the way this baby look because he looks so much like your baby daddy, or she looks so much like your baby daddy, or she looks so much like your baby mama. That type of shit needs to be addressed before you ever try to discipline a child.
True. I have an unpopular opinion about active shooters and why they happen. Right. Okay.
It's probably not unpopular.
Now, I'm assuming from what I've gathered, just this conversation when I was watching in the chat before I joined, that we're basing the cause of active shooters on the fact of a child not having appropriate parents. Am I correct in saying that?
No.
That's a part of it. But go ahead.
I'm saying no, because each active shooter might have their own reasons in their mind on why they did something. Like, for example, I know of some that have been, quote unquote, evaluated that just really got fed up with no one listening to them, including their teachers, including their parents, including their bosses. And again, you notice I just went on 3 different levels: teachers, principals, bosses.
But what's another reason besides those?
The sense of hopelessness?
Well, here's this.
Besides
that's going to go back to, because some people don't pay attention to the fact, like, we will never know Henry Platt shooting that happened in Aurora, right? Oh, you're going to fire me from my job? Workaholic, right? If a person is a workaholic, that I'm a workaholic. And guess what that does? Hides the pain.
What other reasons do you think that they happen other than those that y'all have already spoken on?
Depends on the individual, but what you got?
So this is coming from the correctional officer side of me, okay? Sure. I believe that there's 3 different types of people in the sense of this area of things. I believe that there's an individual, the kind of individual that has experienced trauma and hurt to where now they want to hurt others because they can't feel things that they're wanting to, so they want to make other people hurt. I think that's one kind of individual. I think the other type of individual is somebody that has true mental illnesses, like full-blown mental illnesses. Mm-hmm. And then the third individual is that is somebody that is born truly just evil. And I've met all 3 of those types of individuals in the prison systems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we don't deny it. So that's not an unpopular opinion. That's been spoken on. Yeah, none of that is unpopular.
Well, a lot of people don't see it that way, because when I first started working in the jail, that was county level, right? I was like, I know what type of person I am. I can fix everybody. I can give them the guidance. I can give them the tools. I can give them the resources and get everybody back on track. Then I got in there. I was like, ooh, this is a different ball game. And I learned it quick, because I've met some truly evil, disgusting individuals in my time that I never thought existed on this planet until I got into the correction facilities.
Yeah. So, like, here's the thing, and this is an issue that I've always had when it came to active and mass threats. I don't use the S word because technically the 4 of us, if we go to the range, what are we?
Shooters.
Exactly. So I always say threats. I hate the word shooter. I digress. To evaluate and put all active threats and mass threats in a box is almost having the silver bullet on suicide. And this is why I always get mad when it comes to the diagnosis of why a mass shooter, Why a mass active threat individual or a suicidal person? Is because for us, I ain't gonna say us, for society always wants the panacea. Okay, fancy word for cure all, fancy word for snake oil. It's the bullet. It is the one pill that cures and solves all things, and you put everything under one umbrella. And the problem is to try to put all that in one umbrella is dangerous. It's almost the same approach that people had not understanding the difference between profiling and profiling using clusters of behavior. You had those who profiled
Clusters of behavior, meaning like consistent behavior you've seen with the individual. Is that what you're referring to?
So what I would say is this. Okay, you obviously do corrections, and you're probably a people watcher just like the rest of us.
Bad.
Exactly. So I'm gonna give an example. Maybe this will help. All right. A very long time ago, when concealed carry was still kind of brand new and stuff like that, I learned how Marine Corps behavior clusters, everything else. Okay, let that ride. I saw a gentleman on a summer day in a trench coat inside of Walgreens.
That's red flag.
Complete red flag, right?
Red flag.
And I got in a position to do something until I did one thing. I looked down at his shoes. He was homeless.
Yep.
He was homeless. Homeless people can't pick their summer wardrobe. So behavioral clusters, as well as understanding the whole picture.
So let me ask you
what happened with the United States, in my opinion, is that we stopped using behavioral clusters to avoid terrorism, to avoid active threats, all that good stuff that we're supposed to be doing to see and be proactive instead of reactive. Because for a very long time,
that's a lot of people nowadays. Is just reactive.
I'm gonna say this. The one way to stop mass threats, good word. One way is to see something, say something, and be aware of your surroundings. You're not gonna tell me that dude slept on that roof 24 hours, 48 hours before they start setting.
No, he didn't.
You're not gonna tell me that nobody saw him walking with all that shit going to that roof.
No, it wasn't a lie. Did you see the picture?
But who cares?
But what I'm saying is, somebody climbing up on your roof, Mike, you're not gonna say nothing or look kind of.
We don't know how the building was, because when I went over to Highland and I walked, y'all see me walking on the live.
Yeah.
Some of those places are easily accessible.
Yeah, he used a fire escape.
Yeah,
right. Fire escape. That's just like the what happened up in New York. My thing is, someone saw fucktard driving down the street with all that shit on. I drive a truck a lot. I look over at people's cars. I look back and forth. I'm not gonna see a group dude driving down the street with all that in a regular ass car and not think like,
But if you saw how he was looking like Sally Longstock, and he had his.
But in this day and age,
so what did he carry? What did he carry?
Like for example, wait a minute. Pause. You just learned something. This pandemic just taught you something. You can't look at people wearing a mask differently anymore. You have, again, if you look at society, you have been programmed not to look at certain things a different way anymore. You can't look at masked people or hooded people the same way as you used to back in the day, because maybe they're just trying to avoid being sick and they're wearing a mask for safety. You can't look at that the same way. People dress abnormally now, and it's okay. And it's becoming more natural.
I don't look at that, Marquis. I look at your body structure, the way your body moves.
Oh, body structure,
body language,
body positivity.
Let me explain, Mike. Now you know, I look by me being in law enforcement, by me working in the prison. I look at how you favor one side to another, how something swings heavy on one side than another. How you clench one side of your body more than another. How these new conceal and carry idiots, fucktards, steady constantly adjusting themselves. I look at a lot of different things as to the way a person is moving, and most people that are moving with firearms, they move a certain way. I'm just being honest. Unless you have been highly trained and you actually enjoy your craft and know your craft, they move a certain way. You can go
So-
outside and you can tell who got a pistol on.
So are
but
you
just
trying to say that I can't
Always.
shift to the left and I can't wear my wig to the right? Are you trying to say that I can't be they? Because I'm not. Let me stop. Good.
You can wear whatever you want, but I'm saying
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna look at you crazy as fuck and watch where you going, how you going, and why you going that way. And if it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, it's something. But it's just one of those things. Like I think we're walking around society with a
Get
blind
low.
eye. I'm thinking we walk around society with a blind eye with blinders on, and so he's profiling.
Mm-hmm. Everything
I'm
you
not-
just named is the opposite of what I was talking about.
But I'm not profiling because if you look,
Yes,
if
she
you walk down,
is.
You kind of are, bro. Everything you describe is profiling.
if you walk,
Now, don't
Marquis,
get me wrong.
if
I
you walk down the
watch
street,
people's body language all day long. I'm a
your
watch
body language tells a lot, bro. Like I've been doing this for a long ass time. I'll never forget. I was working off duty in the bowling alley, and a dude came up in there, and
So
the
you
chief of
around
police,
balls.
and the chief of police was in there with his daughter. The guy came and stood behind the chief of police and paced back and forth. When he opened his coat, his left side of his coat opened up real fast and heavy, and the right side kind of just fell open. So immediately my ears went up, and I got close enough to him. He reached in his pocket and pulled out a gun, tried to kill the chief of police of Dalton in the bowling alley. I grabbed him. It was why? Because it's the way that he was moving, his actions, his body language. I'm not profiling nobody for being slim, tall, fat, this, that, and hell, I'm fat. I don't give a shit. But I'm not profiling anybody for any of those things. What I'm saying is most people, thugs in the hood, and everybody else, when you're carrying something, a firearm gets a weight on it. When you're carrying something,
with y'all.
it pretty much if you're not a professional or you're not it's not an art of your craft, you carry it in a way that if anybody is paying attention knows what's going on.
I
And
agree
I'm not saying to
with
stop
the
them.
aspect. However, though, it's more than that. Like when I had inmates, they'd be like, "Officer N, fix your face," because you can't tell my face shit.
Later, Jacob.
How I'm feeling is on my face, right? But they could never find patterns in my movements of how I was roving the dorms, the cells, none of that. But my face, my eyebrows especially, whoo, Officer N, fix your face. I'm like, they doing some stupid shit. I can't help my face, but body language will tell a person a lot of things if you pay attention to it.
What did I say? Charitably chunky.
Do what?
Hey, it took a long time to develop this. But see, Ann, I worked. What's her name?
Andy.
Andy. I worked in
Sound it
Stateville.
out.
I don't know if I can't read that little. This shit little as hell on this phone.
You ain't lying. I'm like,
I worked in Stateville. In Stateville, working in Stateville, I knew when they were sneaking shit out of the kitchen.
oh
I
yeah.
knew when they was about to do the word that we don't never mention in the jail, a riot. I knew when that shit was about to happen. People started moving different than their normal behavior.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Inmates start huddling, they start clenching, they start walking with an extra limp
You
or
feel the
upside to walk.
tension.
You
You
could
can
if you
feel
open
the
your
tension
eyes up and
through.
pay attention. See, the problem is we paying attention or they paying attention to the wrong shit. They paying attention because it's a black guy in Highland Park or this, that, and other. I'm not talking about that shit. Pay attention to how these people are moving. That's the reason why I don't go to clubs. That's the reason why I don't go to parades. That's the reason why I don't go to watch the 4th of July celebration. That's the reason why I don't go to a lot of places. Why? Because my eyes never focus on what I'm there for. I'm always looking at people.
It feels more
always
work
looking
than
at
anything
people.
else.
It feels like work. Everybody like, man, come out to the club. Bro, I can't do a club because I'm sitting there. I'm taking a sip, taking a look. I'm taking a look. By the time I go back to taking a sip, it's cold. I mean, it's hot. It ain't no good no more. So it's one of those things where by me being out there, and I know if I can see it, I can see it because of my profession. But some of these people are painfully obvious.
Aww.
I ain't catch that last comment, Mike, but okay.
No, I heard it was a kid
Michael.
talking. I heard a kid. That's why I stopped talking. Because I was like, ooh, I can't use no bad words.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Oh, Michael Monroe said Katie fat. Yep, sure is.
Hell, I didn't get this body eating salads. I like to eat good. Shit.
Man, look here. I'm from Alabama. I know what you're talking about.
All right, y'all.
I go to the foot wash and I eat everything.
Hey.
Listen, I'm gonna need you to try some of my collard greens. All right.
So I'm gonna say this when it comes to profiling, everybody. I'm gonna break this down real quick because profiling and cluster profiling is different. The best way I can tell you is this: wherever you're at, there is a baseline behavior of what people would normally be doing in this situation. Anyone above or below the baseline is where your eyebrows get raised. It ain't based on skin tone. It ain't based on how you dress. It ain't based on none of that. It's literally the baseline behavior. One of the easiest examples I can give you, which is quite hilarious, go to a mall and watch couples. You can literally see the level of maturity in that couple by how that man holds that woman's purse. I kid you not.
You don't
Something
see
that
that
damn
shit down in the
simple.
South.
Something that damn simple. Because I tell you like this, there are men who will almost hold the purse like they scared that someone's going to think that it's their purse. You have men who will put that shit on their arm with pride because they don't care. And you got the dudes who will sit there and hold that purse way down here like, yeah, I'm just holding this bullshit, yeah, whatever. Something that simple is hilarious to watch when you profile and look at people. Just something that simple. What is the baseline behavior of a man and a woman in a relationship when it comes to holding a purse? Something that simple. That's something to start with.
Kurt said something. National Institute of Justice, 92% of the shooters K through 12 age were suicidal. College university age shooters, 100% of the time, they have been damaged prior to their tragic ending, and we need to learn the signs. Oh, that was early. That was early. We definitely talked about that. That was like the first hour of the show. Ooh, y'all definitely got to watch that because, man, the first hour of the show, we definitely talked about. There's a lot of things that we have to do as parents and as society to not promote a lot of the conditions that drive a person over the edge that make them even want to do that. And that's where this conversation spiraled to in talking about parenting. And it was a wonderful conversation. Some people won't see that as being that conversation, but it was definitely something that was necessary because I guarantee you, if kids were watching this conversation or teenagers or even young, matter of fact, Logic, are you still here? Because if Logic was still here, he just said he said he was 18. It's like if teenagers would watch this conversation, us talking about this, that shit would be refreshing. That would start the healing process within them so they can understand they're not alone. They're not alone. There are some adults who get them. And then if we had more conversations like that and then guide them into certain areas where they can actually, get more resources, get more help, get amongst a community who can actually talk them through and listen to them.
Humans don't listen to each other. That's why I said communication is the breakdown in communication.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are lacking compassion and empathy. And there needs to be more of that.
Oh, look at this.
What's empathy?
See? That's what I'm talking about.
Team 2, I've been here since the beginning.
Teenagers.
Adelaide.
Yes, I love it.
People,
thank you for being here.
In my experience, it's hard to come across individuals that take a second, a minute, just a few minutes out of their day when they do come across an individual that you could see is struggling. Like, hey man, hey honey, what's going on? I want to talk about. No, I'm here. What's up? Maybe I can help you with something. You don't see that too often. I did that a lot as a CEO when I both had male inmates and female inmates. You'd be surprised how far that can take you with individuals in our societies.
Oh yeah, and you'd be surprised how literally our communications are different amongst cultures.
Yes,
I literally was at a bruh. I'm down for it. This is what I do on a regular basis. I teach people how to communicate. And I'm really, and the bad thing about it, I'm actually really horrible at communication sometimes.
I'm bad at putting words on paper.
Yeah, I teach it though. That's what the funny thing. I'm a hypocrite. I tell my, it's crazy. Like, for example, I was at an event that was mostly black, and there was a young lady who was standing next to me, and I was like, hey, I was like, hi. She said hi back. I said, you okay? Why you ask me that? Whoa, pause. I didn't ask you that in a bad term. I'm just literally asking, how are you and how's your day?
Ooh.
And when she looked at me, she was like, oh, I thought you said something was wrong with me. Okay, let me help you out. And I told her and I explained to her. I said, ma'am, I will say things randomly to people just to see where their head is at. I have complimented people on their hair and their shoes and their nails just because maybe that compliment will change their day and maybe make them change their mind on a negative action they was about to think or do.
Yeah.
I literally do this shit on a regular basis. Well, you flirting. I'm really not. I'm just really trying to make your day a little bit brighter because sometimes people need that shit.
Think about this, Marquis. A person that's out there on BS going to do something stupid and somebody just comment and compliment them or speak to them, most of the time you shake they whole morale and they be like, man, I gotta think twice about this.
I thought you were going to use the word. You know what I thought you was going to use?
What?
You disturbed their OODA loop.
No, I ain't gonna use OODA loop, but
I never heard that one.
Here we go. We don't.
And that's what I'm telling you. That's what I do. I try my best to always disturb someone's OODA loop.
Yeah.
Their observation, orientation, decision, and action.
You definitely throw a person off like that. You know what I'm saying? By just by speaking. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like when you walking into places that you think just, oh, it's hood. Just speak to somebody. Most of them cats, man, are faking the funk. They pretenders.
Man.
But
you know what I'm saying? They are straight pretenders. And just by you speaking, hey, how you doing? They's like, man, it changed their whole morale as to what they thought they was going to do, what they thought the party was going to be like. When I was working security at the club, I spoke to everybody with a smile. Even though I was pissed off that I was there, but I still spoke to them. That one time of speaking can change how a person is going to act for the rest of the night.
But let's look at speaking, though, when you're talking about this society, culture, family, and you, or is this action ate up? Here we go. Society allows it. You can speak or you don't speak, right? In the culture. What culture were we talking about? Black culture. We ain't speaking to each other unless we friends, fucking, or financing. Here we go. Approves of that message. Family teaches it. Don't you speak to that person and you don't speak to them. Shit, that person to sit there and snatch your ass up. They teach it. And what do? Execute it.
Mm-hmm.
Society allows it. Culture approves it. Family teaches it. And you execute it. Just like Taneem Madison said, she didn't know how to receive it. Why?
Which is why I explained it.
Yep. Family didn't teach her, hey, it's okay.
But that opens doors up for you to have that dialect. It opens doors up for you to further along that conversation. I go against that. I don't care what culture I'm in. I'm gonna speak. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you look at my Facebook page, Mike, I posted on my Facebook page. If I give you a fish, you'll eat for a day. If I teach you to fish, you'll fish for a lifetime. Right. I posted my godfather up there. That dude right there, he's an older guy. His name is Art. He's down in Jackson, Mississippi now. But that's not my real godfather. He took me in as his son because we was working out at the same gym, and I just spoke to him. And he said that all the years he's been working out there, people didn't speak. And it went from there. The relationship has been beautiful. He taught me how to really fish. He taught me how to clean fish. He taught me how to do a lot of things in life. He just retired from Homeland Security. So it's one of those things by just a simple hello, hey, how's it going? It opens up opportunities to a whole lifetime of different things that a lot of us walk around tight-lipped. Like we have a chip on our shoulder or whatever. I always live by, you'll never see, I suffer in silence. I can have a fucked up day, I'm still going to speak.
Yeah, but like for example, like I said, it depends on the culture, depends where you're at. I literally, like one of the places I don't go to Walmart anymore. I have everything sent to me if I got to go to Walmart because of technically two bad encounters. One of them, I went to a Walmart in a not nice neighborhood, and walking back to my car, this dude looked at me and said, "Damn, you about to F somebody up." Why? Because I'm making eye contact, because I'm walking back to my car. I don't have a mean mug. People who know me and they've seen me in the street, they have never seen me with some type of tough looking face. I'm always smiling at somebody. It's just what I do on purpose. So right. I never get misconstrued as a mean person. But the second encounter was watching a man who didn't care that the woman was about to walk into her car, and he was staring into her car like he wanted it and didn't care about killing her to get to it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I can't come back to Walmart. I see way too much. This is real goofy for me. But I stayed with her, help her get her kid in the car and help her put her bags in the car. I was like, ma'am, I'll leave when you drive off. Because he looked at you like he didn't care about using you to get to that car. Let's go. Let's get it.
But see, we need more people out there like that, Marquis. That's more willing to
Now-
be vigilant. Huh?
What?
Now I will say this, and it's probably y'all probably gonna find this funny. You may not. I don't know.
Good.
But when I say this, I ain't trying to be funny. I am more comfortable being the only snowflake up in the room versus in a room full of just nothing but snow. And I'm gonna tell you why. As a white woman that has grew up here in Alabama in the South, when I'm in a room full of a bunch of white folks, I'm like, the whole time in my head, I'm like, what kind of white are you? Like, what kind of white are you? As wrong as that sounds, I'm being so serious.
No, you're right.
Because I'm like, are you the white 2.0 like me that should have been the original white? Or are
The
you that
evolved?
Yeah, right. Or are you that racist backwoods bullshit white that has been, you know, what everybody's used to? But if I go down to the cookout, I'm comfortable as hell. Hey Andy, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm more
Right.
comfortable surrounded by black and brown folks than I am people that look like me.
You got a lot of people. You got a lot of people that are agreeing with you. And just like KG said, same thing both ways. We hey,
Yep.
Chris Rock even said there are black people.
No,
Use the same shit.
Hey,
It's the same
and not to
shit.
be funny,
Yeah.
I have literally, if I'm in a situation where I don't know no one in the room, I will literally be in that room the whole time with an accent.
Facts.
And they be like, what the hell? Like, it just
It
throws them
depends.
off.
Mine varies.
I don't know. I will literally choose a random accent just to do it.
Oh, mine won't. Because if I'm in a room full
I'll
of
go
random
straight.
white
I will go
folks that
Irish.
I don't know,
I will go English.
I love when I go
British.
to the drive-thru.
I'll just knock it out real quick.
oh no. See, if I'm in a room full of white folks that I don't know, I will speak very proper, very articulately. But if I'm around my own crew, it's completely different.
Right.
I only do it as a shock value. I literally do an accent as a shock value. Like, I will walk into a room, and when I get that awkward look, well, hello, how are you? What the fuck? Like, where he from? Oh, no, don't worry about it. And I just keep talking like that the whole time until I got the situation. It has really thrown people off. I even did an Irish accent that a woman turned around and said, my husband would kick your ass if he knew that you wasn't Irish.
Wow.
Because I did an accent that she was convinced was Irish. And so she looked, I was like, no, man, I'm kidding. That's not me. And I was like, hey, no disrespect. It was just something I do randomly in a situation where I don't know anybody. So then that way, when I leave this room, the last thing you remember was an Irish black guy. And when you see me in real life, like, nah, that wasn't him.
Right. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Final thoughts. Look, for those of you all who came in last minute, that's fine. We still appreciate you being here. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe, all that great stuff. We've been talking about solutions that could help minimize active shooters,
By
especially
using active listening?
active threats.
Right, by using active listening?
Huh?
By using active listening?
Yeah.
Active threats can be reduced by using active listening.
Yeah. And that's what we've been talking about. So, final thoughts before we cut out. This has been a great show.
I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We appreciate your insight.
No, I love having discussions because I don't do arguments. I do discussions. If you're willing to go into a discussion with a group of people or maybe another individual and be open-minded, you might end up at the end of that discussion like, oh shit, I understand your perspective. I now want to have that perspective. And until we start having discussions, these hard discussion topics, nobody's ever going to learn or gain insight to different perspectives in life. You just got to be respectful with it. You got to be educated in your perspective and your discussion that you're dealing with.
You have to learn how to shake hands after you're done.
Facts.
You have to learn how not to use name calling because you don't agree.
Right.
What's that about?
Disagree.
You do this by not unfriending people because you have differences of opinion on certain things.
True.
That woman needs to get out of Alabama once in a while. Confident people are exposed. People are comfortable around all races.
Yeah, you
Listen, I
That's
was in
not
the
true.
army. I was
right.
Well, we military. You can't get no more. Yeah. Okay.
I've been all over the place.
Hey,
Yeah.
I disagree because we're military. Like, dude, we come from literal.
Yeah.
What you guys would call melting pots. We come from the biggest salad bowls you would ever deal with.
Everything.
And then
in
Sarita
the
puts you in the
military,
lean and rest.
right? Because I'm about to say, technically, and I've told people this: America is not a fucking melting pot. It is a salad bowl. There is nothing about us that we should be melting together. We're all different. We all have different skin tones, different cultures, different accents, different everything. We are a salad bowl that needs to learn how to be tossed the correct way and get along with each other. You won't see nothing more than that than certain military units and branches. I'm not going to say all.
Yeah.
But there are some questionable deaths in some of these units.
Now, I will put my 2 cents into that comment, though. When I refer to the situation of being a room full of white folks, it's mainly more addressing to when I'm in Alabama, not other aspects of the country. It's more addressed to that.
Right.
So let's be clear on that.
Like if people iron their sheets.
I can second that down there in Alabama. Being from Brent, yeah.
Shit, you can second that in the South.
I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah,
you got to know what area to be in and what area not to be in. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But it was a great show. Final thoughts, man. Be vigilant. Keep your head on the swivel. See something, say something. You know,
and do something.
Do something. Go through your kids' rooms. Have a conversation with your kids. Go through their phones. Go through their tablets. Go through their diary. All of that stuff. What's wrong, Marquis?
Diary, bro?
Man, everything.
I document everything. I save
everything. My son knows that his phone.
No, I say going through it, not that you document. I'm like, damn.
My son knows that his phone is only his phone because he's using it, not because it's his phone.
That's a phone, though. When you said diary, that's what I was looking at, bro.
At any given time, when I want to go through it, I'm just going to ask for it, and I'm going to go through it. At any given time, when I would decide to walk in his room, I'm going to open the door, walk in his room. Now, my baby girl has a pass by her being female, but her mother, I tell her, go up in there first. If I want to go in and inspect your room, you're not going to be building no bombs in my house at all. You're not going to be writing about killing up and shooting up the school. Not going to happen. You're not going to do any of those things. I'm the type of parent, I am proactive, not reactive. Being proactive means that some kids would not talk to you about those dark moments. And many times I've had great dialogue with my son because of something I saw he texted or Googled or looked at. It opened up the door for a lot of other conversations that allow me to be a parent. But if I turn a blind eye to that, we'll be having a different conversation.
True.
So to me, until you're at that age, or I feel that you're at that age to handle very serious situations on your own, meaning being grown, and I gotta handle those situations, I'm nosy. Sorry, not sorry.
That's why you just put tracking devices in your kids' bloodstream, and then that way you always know where they at. That's what I do. Like when my kids were born, I was like, look over there. What?
Hey, let me talk about me, JFB. You know what? But I will say this as a final thought. I was just on Fox 32 News today. I had an interview today, and it was played like 3 times, 4, 6, and 9. But we got to be careful. Parents, you got to start doing something now. Because if you don't start doing something now to intervene in the life of your children and heal yourself, I made the suggestion. And it's like when I interview with Tia Ewing, you don't know which part she's going to use, but you know she's probably going to find the most controversial thing that I said to put on there. That's how Tia is.
For the soundbite.
And she found it, and I have to agree. This situation is going to force the Democratic legislature, unless the family is very prestige from Highland Park.
So I'm not going to comment only because of one reason. You said this was a solution show. So I can't say what we discussed.
I know, but what I'm saying is this. We got to be careful because if Illinois writes it into the legislature to start holding parents accountable for the actions of their kids, who do you think they're going to practice that on first?
Black neighborhoods.
And I'm just saying, you
Mhm.
either start now, or you gonna get it later.
Yeah, they
Well,
gonna start
Mike,
with
you know,
black
I've been
neighborhoods
saying
because it's the
I've been
easier
saying that
target.
for a long time though, up there in Highland, Michigan. In Highland, Michigan, when your kid do something, the police come get you.
But here's the
Black,
question
white,
though:
brown, polka dot, all of the above.
what would be the age to go after the parent? What age would it start? What age would it begin?
So I'm gonna say it like this, and I make the analogy. If I had a dog and my dog got loose and ran down the street and bit somebody,
Pause. Stay focused on what I'm saying.
I'm about to go.
What would be the age? No one cares about a dog.
As a minor child, you're a minor child. You're a minor child from birth.
What age?
From birth to what's the age of my consent? 17, 6, 18, 17? Which one is it? I don't know. I wouldn't say 13. I say at least 17. As a minor child, as long as I get in trouble for him not going to school, that's the age. Whatever age that may be.
Yeah, because I know you're about to go with the dog story, but I'm like, yeah, a dog is different than a human, only based on the fact that literally people were trying to say that this dude's parents, because they signed his FOI card.
He vouched for a FOI.
They vouched for a FOI when he was under 21. We all know that once you turn 21, you can get your own damn FOI.
And
they were trying to go after him.
Yeah.
They were trying to go after his parents because they signed for a FOI when he was 19.
But he didn't do anything until he became 21.
Right, which has shit to do with him being 21 and buying his own gun.
That's true. That's very true.
So the thing is this. That's why I said, what is the statute of limitation? What is the age? Because literally, if you look at those press conferences that Mike put up yesterday, that was the topic of discussion. Well, didn't his parents sign for a FOI card at 19? What the hell they got to do with 21?
Yeah.
And the reason why they're allowed to ask those stupid ass questions is because I said it yesterday. People choose to be ignorant. Because before you ask that question, go look at the FOI card law. Under 21, parents' permission. 21, you can get it your damn self. Parents don't have to worry about it. It's no difference than the military. You can sign up for the military under 18, but your parent has to sign for it. At 18, you can do it on your own.
Right.
But once again, that's why I brought up bless you. Statute of limitations. Because guess who else? Jeffrey Dahmer parents weren't that fucked up, but Jeffrey Dahmer enjoyed a good snack.
Oh, and with that on that ass, we are.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Hey, countdown, Mike. Go ahead and go to the party screen.
You gotta do the countdown now.
Thank you.
Go to the party screen.
Hey, Andy, if no one else says it, it was a damn pleasure having you tonight.
Hell yeah.
Your perspective and them kids you got, hey, gratitude, please, and thank you.
I would love to do this again. I've really enjoyed it.
And I love you too, KD.
Yeah.
Love you too, bro.
Y'all
all right, Andy. If
no, I want to compliment Andy and not compliment KD because you know it's
right.
I'm not sensitive.
I don't want you. I don't want you leaving your house upset and then you bring out some firecrackers and then because we ain't talk to you, we ain't give you the love language.
If y'all don't know me, on TikTok, I'm that lady Andy on TikTok, and I would love to do these again. I think these are very important.
Okay.
Hey, Andy, hold on. We gonna talk after we end this. So don't hang up your head.
Marquis got a pack for tomorrow. I got to be out the house at 2:45.
Goddamn well.
All right, okay then.
Cut that off, Mike.
I'm gonna cut it off. Hold on. All right, y'all, come back next Wednesday. Trigger with instructor Mike. All right, we are out, but it ain't gonna be a cutout because you gotta let the theme song do its thing. All right, y'all. What's going on there? This is Chicago with Secret Service Survival.
Don't you do it?
Oh, there's that Obama Wi-Fi.
Y'all,
because you have to understand that self-defense is a serious business. We do military forces, advanced forces. Make a difference.
one of the tactics that would increase
Hello?
or decrease
in the two-way community.
All right, y'all introduce this.